It's Thursday, November 6th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, reaction continues to pour in after Nova Scotia MP Chris d'Entremont quit the Conservative caucus to join the Liberals. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And Risk Screen. Look at the details on a new online tool that helps you determine your screening that could maybe make you more aware of your risk for heart and stroke. That's in our second hour.
Plus, we breed lions. We'll speak with TSN senior correspondent and author Rick Westhead about his new book and putting a spotlight on our country's sometimes troubling hockey culture. All that and so much more just ahead on the Thursday edition of Your Morning Atlantic.
Come on in. 6:01 on this Thursday, November 6th. So glad you're with us. We have so much to talk about today. I'm glad you tuned in early because there's so much information to share. I know you've got tons of news.
Yes.
But I want to get to the weather because there is something rolling through that's causing significant rain in our region. SNOW for some.
Yes, unfortunately.
The S word.
Don't dare to say it. Oh my goodness. But you know what? Yesterday we had quite an intense system move through Newfoundland and Labrador. They were seeing such strong winds in parts of those provinces. So that's going to continue today, unfortunately, and we are going to see this wet weather track across much of the region. Here's a live look at Yarmouth early this morning. It's another cold start to the day. Keep that in mind when you are heading out, and quite breezy for much of the region. 7 degrees rather, starting off your day in Yarmouth. Currently going to remain quite cool today for our daytime highs as well. 3 degrees heading outdoors in Halifax and Sydney, as well as into Charlottetown and Fredericton. -3 over in Labrador City, and 4 degrees starting off your day in St. John's, Newfoundland. We do still have a coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland, as well as into parts of Labrador. Over to our satellite and radar, you can see the current system moving through and moved in Wednesday night. We are going to see mixed precipitation for parts of Atlantic Canada, starting off periods of rain for much of the maritime region. Over to our current winds, starting off a bit lighter than we've been seeing, will pick up yet again into the afternoon. Out of right now, we're seeing sustained wind, 26 kilometers per hour into Halifax, 20 in Canso and Greenwood, as well as into Edmundston. Currently only one wind gust to notify you of, getting up to 37 kilometers per hour in Halifax. I'll have a look at your long-range forecast just ahead, but first a look at your local news with Amanda.
Thank you, Latavia. Time in 6:02. The fallout continues after a Nova Scotia MP jumped ship from the Conservatives to join the governing Liberals. There were high fives and hugs all around as Chris d'Entremont entered the Liberal caucus room in Ottawa yesterday morning. He was escorted in by the Prime Minister. On the other side of the aisle, members of the Conservative Party accused him of breaking his promises to constituents and of acting on personal grievances. D'Entremont says it's simpler than that.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the leader of the opposition had been talking about.
D'Entremont suggested there are other Conservatives feeling the same way, but declined to name them. A Conservative MP since 2019, d'Entremont won his seat in a last election with a narrow 1.1% margin of victory. That's just 533 votes. And here's what some of d'Entremont's constituents have to say about his decision.
Well, I'm excited because, you know, we were kind of the only blue spot and a bunch of red before, so I'm excited to see what he'll bring now that he's switched over to the Liberal side. And, yeah, see what it does for Kingston and this Kings region. I think it'll be great.
I'm not very happy about that. I'm not very much impressed with the Liberals. They have done a lot of harm to the country, and I'm not very pleased that he did that.
I was kind of in the middle. I mean, I think he's always done a good job for Yarmouth, so whatever he feels is best is fine by me.
Chris has always sort of impressed me as somebody that has some smarts and some ethics and really does care about the riding that he's in.
D'Entremont was the only Conservative win in the province in the April election. Now the Liberals have all 11 seats. The mayor of a community on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula says there was nothing the town or anybody could do to save the local fish plant, which provided over 300 jobs.
It just tore right through the building. It was just like kaboom. And I said, it's gone.
The fish plant in St. Mary's burned to the ground Tuesday night during a powerful storm that pounded the coasts of eastern Newfoundland. Firefighters struggled in high winds. No one was hurt, and investigators are trying to figure out how the fire started. The plant reopened in 2022 after sitting empty for 7 years. Mayor Steve Ryan says the plant was supposed to be the start of his town's economic recovery. Premier Tony Wakeham says the company behind the fish plant says they are exploring rebuilding. In New Brunswick, it was standing room only at the Lornville Community Center in St. John last night for an open house on a proposed AI data center that would be built in the recently expanded Spruce Lake Industrial Park.
Arabia, why don't just pretend you're not from here and take it somewhere else?
Over the course of 3 hours, area residents had the opportunity to ask questions and learn more about the proposed facility. If it passes an environmental assessment, the data hub will be built in partnership between Beacon AI Centers and VoltaGrid. VoltaGrid president and CEO Nathan O was born in St. John and says he's ready to work alongside the residents of Lornville.
It's a real win for us to actually understand what is the sentiment in the community, to get an understanding of just the kind of the background of what's gone in Lornville, so that we can incorporate that into the message going forward.
They're coming in with 50+ years of issues with this community that have had with all levels of government and issues. That's not VoltaGrid's fault. That's not Beacon IA's fault, but it's something they have to navigate and deal with.
This is the first project being proposed for the area since the city approved the controversial expansion of the industrial park over the summer. A 27-year-old man is facing drug charges for allegedly trying to bring opium into the country. Cape Breton Regional Police say they worked with other agencies to search a home in Sydney where a package of dried opium poppy pods were seized. Ramneek Singh has been charged with importation and possession of a controlled substance. He'll face a judge next month. Finally, it was an important movie night at Pier 21 in Halifax last night.
After winning the gold, the outside world was like, okay, here it comes, like a women's professional soccer league. But we, as players, knew that it was still going to be a fight.
That's a scene from The Pitch, a new documentary exploring the creation of the Northern Super League, a big step forward for professional sport and women's soccer in the country. The Emmy-nominated filmmaker says it's an important story that had to be told.
The Pitch is a film following Diana Matheson, former Olympic medalist, who decides after retirement to try and bring a professional league here in Canada.
And Halifax Ties player Sid Kennedy and team president Val Malone were among those at the red carpet event last night. We were talking about the anticipation of this event earlier in the week, so I'm glad to hear that they had such a successful night.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd love to find out how you can see The Pitch if you weren't able to attend last night's event. When it goes into wider release, we'll let you know. Also want to let you know about a beloved music store in Fredericton. If you missed this, it's shutting its doors after 50 years of service in the community.
It's been crazy. We've had a lot of sales, a lot of support, a lot of people in.
As soon as word got out that Tony's Music Box will close its doors forever on November 22nd, customers have been flocking to the shop to purchase essentials and say farewell. The shop will be missed not just by Fredericton residents, but musicians across the Maritimes. The owners say there are a number of reasons why they've decided to stop the music after half a century of service. Yeah, they were the longer report that was done by one of our reporters, Avery McRae, was that people, just as soon as they heard word Tony's was closing, they all flocked. And you can see there's barely anything left.
Barely anything left. It must be so, I don't know, heartwarming and heartbreaking for the owners of that store, especially when you're probably seeing your customers that you've had for years coming in saying, I'm so sad, I'm going to miss you.
Well, after half century of service, probably owners were getting tired of running a business. There's a number of reasons they said why they decided to close their doors, but I'm sure it was not an easy decision.
No, absolutely not.
All right, well, best of luck to them in their remaining weeks. Coming up, first look at your national and international news headlines on this Thursday morning. And Latavia will have more details on the full forecast. We seem to be in this very intense rain cycle. Good morning to you, Macadam, New Brunswick, a historic train station there. We'll be right back after this short break.
Good morning, Atlantic Canada, and happy Thursday. The time now is 6:13. We're taking a live look at a very wet start to the day over in Moncton. It's also cold, so you may want to allot some extra time on your morning commute for that precipitation, as well as bundle up. Weather is brought to you by the Atlantic Lottery mobile app, and we are seeing cool temperatures yet again across the board. As of right now, it is 3 degrees heading outdoors in Fredericton, as well as over into Charlottetown, Sydney, and Halifax. -3 over in Labrador City, and 4 degrees starting off your day in St. John's, Newfoundland. We do still have a coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland. We are going to see this extend into tomorrow's forecast on Friday. Large waves, pounding surf, storm surge will produce higher water levels as well. We do have a coastal flooding statement as well in effect along the coast of Newfoundland. Over to Labrador, we do still have that coastal flooding warning in effect as well. Over to our forecast timeline. So here's the current system that we're currently dealing with. It moved into Wednesday night, still bringing us wet weather throughout the day today, so prepare for that. We are going to see mixed precipitation as well. So indicated in that pink and purple, that is wet snow. We're not expecting much accumulation from that, but we are going to see a bit. That rain at times heavy for parts of mainland Nova Scotia. So this system will continue to spread across Atlantic Canada. For Labrador, we are going to see snow mixed in with some wet snow, and we are going to see this system move into parts of Newfoundland into the afternoon, so bringing wet snow and precipitation your way as well. Into the evening hours, we start to see the system really begin to clear out, but it's going to remain quite cold into the overnight hours, and we are going to see precipitation yet again return into the evening tomorrow. So if you're wondering about rainfall totals, we are going to see only around 2 to 5 millimeters for the southern region of New Brunswick, seeing around 5 to 10 millimeters for Charlottetown, and then for Nova Scotia, seeing the heaviest of additional precipitation at around 10 to 20 millimeters. For Newfoundland and Labrador, going to see around 5 to 20 millimeters for Labrador, and for Newfoundland, 2 to 50 millimeters expected. This is additional to what we already received. In case you're wondering about our snowfall outlook, we will be seeing around 1 to 15 centimeters of snow accumulation. And then for Newfoundland and Labrador, we're looking at 1 to 15 for Labrador, and for Newfoundland, 1 to 5 centimeters expected. So for forecast today for New Brunswick, looking at showers and or flurries. For parts of the province, we will be seeing a bit of that flurry action clear, but for the most part, we are going to see mixed precipitation throughout your day, but into the evening, seeing a bit more clearing expected. Wind gusts getting up to 50 kilometers per hour. Highs between 6 to 7 degrees for Prince Edward Island. We are going to see periods of rain throughout your day today. Wind gusts becoming strong at around 70 kilometers per hour. And then for Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, rain throughout the day today. Highs between 6 to 7 degrees, wind gusts of up to 50. And then for the rest of Nova Scotia, we are going to see periods of rain throughout your day as well. Highs between 7 to 9. For Newfoundland and Labrador, we are going to see a high of 0 in Labrador City. Scattered flurries expected throughout the day. And 8 degrees for St. John's, Newfoundland, mainly sunny skies. Rain moves in into the evening. That's a look at your weather forecast. We'll throw things over to Amanda for your national and international news headlines.
Thank you, Latavia. Time is 6:15. After the budget was introduced this week, many are wondering whether the average Canadian will see any immediate impacts. CTV's Abigail Beeman looks to find some answers.
At an Ottawa light rail yard the morning after the budget, the Prime Minister highlighted its $51 billion local infrastructure fund.
Canada's strength wasn't built in the halls of Parliament. It was built in our communities.
An attempt to make a high-level budget he calls generational relevant, as many economists say there aren't many takeaways for the average Canadian's daily life.
The government is moving in the right direction, but seem hesitant to go all in on this.
Economist Randall Bartlett points to previously announced tax cuts and a new promise to lower bank fees as impactful, but says it's tricky to find the narrative.
The amount of support that was provided to the economy is less than we were expecting. We looked at the depth of the cuts. It was less than we were expecting.
They're worried about how they're going to pay for their grocery bills. They're worried about how they're going to afford tuition. They're worried if they don't have a doctor. And this budget doesn't do anything for them.
Conservatives call it a costly budget.
Never before have Canadians had to spend so much to get so little.
The big bet that Mark Carney's making in this budget is on the patience of Canadians.
Scott Reid calls it a 30,000-foot budget with measures to reorient our economy and restructure business investment taking as long as a decade to see tangible impacts.
They may be absolutely necessary, but they are not urgent. And Canadians tend to think, worry, and vote on the basis of urgency.
Reid says the government needs to focus now on showing Canadians how this budget could help them on an ongoing basis, not just on budget day. The government tells CTV News today's train depot announcement was just the beginning of a cross-country tour to promote the budget.
CTV's Abigail Beeman reporting in Ottawa. The U.S. Supreme Court is weighing on one of the most economically significant cases in decades, with huge implications for Canada. At issue is whether President Donald Trump's sweeping emergency tariffs are legal. The case is being waged by a group of small businesses, but the stakes are high for Canada as well. CTV's Joy Malbin has more.
The handmaidens were back protesting President Donald Trump's tariffs outside the Supreme Court. The justices have to decide if the president had the authority to use a 1977 emergency statute to impose sweeping tariffs on more than 90 nations, including Canada.
President Trump has negotiated agreements worth trillions of dollars with major trading partners.
It's a congressional power, not a presidential power to tax. And you want to say tariffs are not taxes, but that's exactly what they are.
Even conservative justices seemed skeptical. No other president has used the emergency law before to impose tariffs.
The exercise of the power is to impose tariffs, right? And the statute doesn't use the word tariffs.
But it uses the word regulate importation.
The tariffs have been challenged by businesses and a group of states after lower courts agreed the president overstepped his authority.
For nearly 40 years, my family has built this business from the ground up. Today, reckless tariffs threaten everything we've achieved.
Trump's tariffs have cost Canada billions of dollars in lost business, straining relations with the U.S. And with trade talks stalled over an Ontario anti-tariff ad.
Such trade barriers hurt every American worker.
This is like somebody's driving the train. We're kind of in the back cars, and we don't control its speed, and we don't control its destination.
With the president's tariffs hanging in the balance, the administration is preparing backup plans should the court rule against him. A swift decision is expected within weeks or months.
CTV's Joy Malbin reporting in Washington. Global Affairs has confirmed that a Canadian was one of 7 people killed in an avalanche in Nepal earlier this week. 5 foreigners and 2 locals died when the avalanche crashed into the base camp on Monday morning. So far, rescuers have recovered the remains of at least 3 people from the snow. Former NFL superstar Tom Brady says he's been given a second chance with Junie, who happens to be a clone of his beloved dog who died in 2023. He shared the details as part of a news release by Colossal Biosciences, the company he used to clone his previous family dog, a pit bull mix named Lua. Brady is also an investor in the company, and in case you're wondering, cloning a canine costs between $50,000 to $85,000. Quick break here on Your Morning Atlantic, but when we return, we'll have your must-see moment from our colleagues at TSN. We'll be right back after this. Please stay with us.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Big day in history for Canadians.
Yeah.
All right, it is now 6:24 and time to check in with our friends at TSN Sports Center for today's must-see moment.
Hi, everyone. Mark Rowe inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Wednesday. We head to D.C. The Capitals were taking on the Blues. Alex Ovechkin sitting on 899 goals. The shot misses the net. There's Ovi on the backhand, getting gold number 900. Not known for scoring goals with his backhand. The all-time record holder in goals sets another milestone 7 months after breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time mark. And that is your must-see moment from Wednesday. Tonight on TSN, it's Thursday Night Football. The Raiders taking on the Broncos with coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
This TSN must-see moment brought to you by J.R. Rahe's Furniture and Appliances.
And now over to your business headlines from our colleagues at BNN.
Air Canada is reporting a 5% drop in revenue in its latest quarter. When 10,000 flight attendants went on strike in August, the airline had to cancel 3,000 flights. It cost the carrier $375 million. Just reimbursing customers came to $90 million. In an effort to trim costs, the airline recently slashed 400 management jobs. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar down a fraction to 70.88. West Texas Intermediate crude down almost $1 to 59.60. Western Canadian Select also down to 49.19. And the TSX gained 325 points today to push back over 30,100. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Taking a look at our 3-day forecast for New Brunswick. Today we're looking at mixed precipitation for much of the province with a high of 7. Mixed precipitation returns on Friday, a high of 6. We're going to see some isolated flurries as well into the evening. And then on Saturday, rain and/or snow continues but warms up to a high of 12. Nova Scotia looking at wet weather as well today. Rain throughout your day with a high of 8 degrees. Really cooling down on Friday, 5 degrees, so quite a chilly day. We are going to see sunshine with isolated showers for Cape Breton Island. And then on Saturday, rain throughout your day into the weekend with a high of 12. Prince Edward Island looking at much of the same wet weather today. On Thursday, a high of 7. On Friday, sunshine returns, but we have rain moving back into the evening. And then on Saturday, isolated showers across the island with a high of 12.
Just ahead in this half hour, the Move Morning Chat. Today, it's all about nostalgic smells that take you right back. Fresh bread, crayons, air-dried clothes. Maybe you've got one you'd like to share with us. We're going to have a little discussion coming up on Your Morning Atlantic.
Good morning, Atlantic Canada. Don't you love the fresh smell of coffee in the morning?
Oh, love it. Even people who don't like coffee love the smell of coffee.
Yeah.
So good.
So delicious.
True.
Yeah.
So,
every time Crystal has a warm cup after a break, I'm like, I need to fill mine up.
I know. If Crystal makes her coffee before I make mine, I think, oh, yeah, I got it.
Right? I know.
That sounds and smells good. Like the first
sip. Every time I take that first sip, I'm literally saying, wow, oh, that's good.
It's like a coffee commercial.
It is. It is. We could definitely be very, very keen and eager spokespeople for any coffee provider of the world.
Also love a warm cup of tea when it's rainy and cold outside.
How about some hot chocolate? The whipped cream on the top.
Ooh,
oh, yeah. A hot drink.
Absolutely.
And a gift.
I don't care, everyone. I broke out the winter coat today. I was like, it's too cold, for me at least. And it is quite cold across the region.
It is cold, but you have to also break out the raincoat.
Exactly. Thank goodness mine's waterproof.
Okay,
so it was
good.
a little bit of both.
Rainproof water. Did you say rainproof rain jacket? What am I saying?
No, I didn't. What are you hearing? Where are you this morning? I had to go get a coffee.
I'm in St. John's.
Yes, we are over in St. John's right now. 4 degrees starting off your day. It's going to be quite a decent day ahead. Cold, and we do still have that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland, so keep that in mind when you are heading out. 3 degrees today starting off your day in Fredericton, 3 in Charlottetown, Halifax and Sydney, -3 over in Labrador City, 0 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, 2 degrees in Cartwright, 1 in St. Anthony, and 4 degrees in St. John's. Over to that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland, as well as a coastal flooding statement. We do still have that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Labrador until Friday. Over to this current weather system we're dealing with. It moved in Wednesday night, going to be bringing mixed precipitation right across Atlantic Canada throughout the day today. Something to keep in mind when you are heading out early this morning. Wind out of the north and northwest starting off a bit lighter. We are going to see it become strong into the afternoon for many areas across the Maritimes. As of right now, 24 kilometers per hour in St. John, New Brunswick, 20 into Edmonton as well as into Grand Manan, 22 in Canso. Wind gusts getting up to 35 kilometers per hour right now in Greenwood, 33 in St. John, New Brunswick, 31 into Grand Manan, Halifax, and Canso. I'll have another look at your weather forecast just ahead, but first another look at your local news headlines with Amanda.
Thank you so much, Latavia. Reaction continues to pour in after a Nova Scotia MP jumped ship from the Conservatives to the governing Liberals. There were high fives and hugs all around as Chris D'Entremont entered the Liberal caucus room in Ottawa yesterday morning. He was escorted in by the Prime Minister. On the other side of the aisle, members of the Conservative Party accused him of breaking his promises to constituents and of acting on personal grievances. D'Entremont says it's simpler than that.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the Leader of the Opposition had been talking about.
D'Entremont suggested there are other Conservatives feeling the same way, but declined to name them. A Conservative MP since 2019, D'Entremont won his seat in the last election with a narrow 1.1% margin of victory. That is just 533 votes. The mayor of a community on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula says there was nothing the town or anybody could do to save the local fish plant, which provided over 300 jobs.
It just tore right through the building. It was just like kaboom. And I knew, I said, it's gone.
The fish plant in St. Mary's burned to the ground Tuesday night during a powerful storm that pounded the coast of eastern Newfoundland. Firefighters struggled in high winds and big waves. No one was hurt, and investigators are trying to figure out how it started. The plant reopened in 2022 after sitting empty for 7 years. Mayor Steve Ryan says the plant was supposed to be the start of his town's recovery plan. The Premier says the company behind the fish plant says they are exploring rebuilding. In New Brunswick, it was standing room only at the Lornville Community Centre in St. John last night for an open house on a proposed AI data centre that would be built in the recently expanded Spruce Lake Industrial Park.
Why don't just pretend you're not from here and take it somewhere else?
Over the course of 3 hours, area residents had the opportunity to ask questions and learn more about the proposed facility. If it passes an environmental assessment, the data hub would be built in partnership between Beacon AI Centers and VoltaGrid. VoltaGrid president and CEO Nathan O was born in St. John and says he's ready to work alongside the residents of Lornville.
It's a real win for us to actually understand what is the sentiment in the community, to get an understanding of just the kind of the background of what's gone in Lornville, so that we can incorporate that into the message going forward.
They're coming in with 50-plus years of issues with this community that have had with all levels of government and issues. That's not VoltaGrid's fault. That's not Beacon IA's fault, but it's something they have to navigate and deal with.
This is the first project being proposed for the area since the city approved the controversial expansion of the industrial park over the summer. The New Brunswick government is eliminating registration stickers on license plates. Legislation tabled yesterday would eliminate the stickers, but vehicle registrations would still have to be renewed every year.
We're really catching up with the rest of Canada. Right now, there are only 3 provinces and 1 territory, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Nunavut, that continue to have the registration stickers on the vehicles. So basically antiquated technologies.
Authorities will be able to verify registrations electronically. Renewal reminders will still be sent. The federal spending plan did create a buzz among Nova Scotia mayors gathered together in Halifax. They can compete for a piece of a $51 billion infrastructure fund. Much of the work simply wouldn't happen without federal cash.
Wastewater, water. Tax pressure and tax effort is at a maximum. People feel overtaxed, yet they need more infrastructure supports for everyday curbside issues.
A rising tide floats all boats. If we're doing well locally, they're doing well provincially. If we're doing well provincially, they're doing well federally.
Much of the fund is earmarked for building local roads, bridges, water systems, and community centers. Finally, someone in Newfoundland and Labrador has 5 million reasons to smile this morning. Check your tickets if you're from Newfoundland. Atlantic Lotto says a Lotto 649 ticket sold in Newfoundland for yesterday's draw is worth $5 million. Atlantic Lotto says details on the prize winner will be released as soon as they come forward. What a nice Thursday morning surprise.
I wish.
I didn't hear my phone ring. I don't think it was me.
Well, you know, and I was disappointed after Joe Carter didn't call me after the Jays game, you know, right? With that huge 50-50 during the World Series.
That would have been nice.
Incredible. Well, speaking of money, the Royal Canadian Mint has unveiled a new $2 coin ahead of Remembrance Day at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa. The Royal Canadian Mint says the coin commemorates the 25th anniversary of the repatriation of Canada's unknown soldier. It was designed by the same artist who created the bronze work in the on the unknown soldier's tomb. Now, those in attendance at the ceremony were cadet groups, local youth, choirs, all paying tribute to the service, sacrifice, and resilience of those who put their lives on the line for Canada. The new commemorative toonie is already in circulation. Canadians will find it in their change as bank branches and businesses replenish their inventories of $2 coins. There will only be 3 million made.
Cool.
So if you'd like to get your hands on one, you might want to keep one and put it in a safe place.
That's a good idea. It's a beautiful coin, too.
It is a beautiful coin. Cool. Really gorgeous, yeah.
All right, still ahead, your entertainment headlines and Latavia's next look at the Thursday forecast. And also, it is Move Morning Chat time. Today, we want to know, is there an everyday scent that takes you right back to another time immediately? We're going to talk about that when we return, 6:39.
Another dark start to the day in Halifax. Time now 6:42, and it's a cold and wet start to the day as well. Keep that in mind when you are heading out early this morning for your commute. Only 3 degrees starting off your day, and temperatures cool right across the board early this morning, and it is wet for the most part for much of Atlantic Canada. So for our current temperatures right now, starting off your day, it is 1 degree in Edmonton, 2 degrees over in Bathurst, with 3 in Fredericton, Charlottetown, and Sydney, 7 degrees into Yarmouth, -3 in Labrador City, and 4 degrees starting off your day in St. John's, Newfoundland. We do still have a coastal flooding warning in effect until Friday. We're looking at some large waves, pounding storm surge that will produce higher water levels expected, and that coastal flooding statement in effect, basically explaining the same thing. We do have that coastal flooding warning as well across the coast of Labrador. Over to our forecast timeline. We did have another system move in. So what we're going to see for the end of this week is a system every couple days. That's a little bit of a reprieve, but still going to see that wet weather persist. So for Labrador today, we're seeing mixed precipitation early this morning, and this system will make its way over to Newfoundland into the afternoon. For the most part, this system continues across the maritime region, seeing that pink and purple indicating some wet snow. Not going to see much accumulation, but we will be seeing some. And then into the evening and overnight hours, we start to see a bit of clearing, but precipitation still holds on to eastern Nova Scotia, Cape Breton Island, and Prince Edward Island, and still making its way over, bringing more snow over to Newfoundland and Labrador. Into early Friday morning, much of the same. We're still going to see that precipitation holding on before clearing out, leaving sunshine for much of the region. If you're wondering about our rainfall totals, going to be quite light for New Brunswick, only seeing around 2 to 5 millimeters of additional rainfall. We're looking at 5 to 10 for Prince Edward Island, and the heaviest for Nova Scotia, 10 to 20 millimeters expected. The heaviest for Newfoundland is around 40 to 50 millimeters. Excuse me. For our snowfall outlook, we're looking at some snow accumulating, unfortunately. Looking at a 1 to 15 centimeters of snowfall. Same thing goes for Labrador, and only 1 to 5 centimeters for parts of Newfoundland. So for today, wet weather across New Brunswick. Daytime highs will range from 4 to 8 degrees. We are going to see wind gusts pick up as well, to gusting up to 50 kilometers per hour. So showers and flurries moving across the province today. Prince Edward Island seeing wet weather as well throughout your day. Wind gusts getting strong up to 70 kilometers per hour. And then for Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, periods of rain throughout your day. Wind gusts of up to 50 and highs between 6 to 7 degrees. For the rest of Nova Scotia, highs between 7 to 9. Still going to see that wet weather persist for much of the day, starting to clear out into the evening. And then for Labrador City, 0 degrees with scattered flurries throughout your day. 8 degrees for St. John's, Newfoundland. Sunshine throughout your day. Transition over to rain. So for our Friday forecast, as you can see here, quite clear. Lots of sunshine returns. We do have some snow still accumulating for parts of Labrador, a bit for Newfoundland. And then into Friday night, early Saturday, we have another system bringing mixed precipitation our way again. That's a look at your weather forecast. We'll throw things over to the Move Morning Chat.
It's the Move Morning Chat with Aaron and Peter, and our colleagues in radio. This morning, we're talking about a smell that instantly takes you back in time. Peter, what's the story behind this one?
Well, the story behind this one is I was telling Aaron that we lit our first wood fire. We have a wood stove in our home. It's cozy. It helps keep the house warm. But that smell of the first wood fire of the season instantly took me back to when I was a kid. We lived in this old rambling farmhouse that my great-grandparents built. And in our kitchen, we had a wood stove. At this time of year, you would put a wood fire on there for the first time. And again, that same smell that I smelled just a couple of days ago, that's what it takes me back to. From when I was a kid and the smell of the wood fire in the kitchen of our home.
Oh, it's such a cozy feeling and a cozy smell. I love that. I was actually slammed with nostalgia just a couple days ago. I was at one of those restaurants that'll put a piece of brown paper down on the table and allow the young kids to color and draw. The smell of crayons. I mean, I don't have kids of my own. I'm not often near young kids that often. I was just like taken right back to my childhood. That waxy, earthy smell. If you're not around crayons often, I mean, honestly, when it hits you, it is just pure nostalgia. So I love that.
I think scents are like a time machine. Takes you right back to a moment. For me, like walking out in the woods, there's a certain kind of pine scent that reminds me of this canoe trip I took in grade 12. It was so much fun. It rained the whole time. It was really, really challenging. But then when it was over, we all slept in this on the loft of a lodge. Like this was the classmates from my high school.
Wow.
And it just was after that shower. I remember the hot meal and that cozy feeling of being all together and the feeling of camaraderie. Like it takes me right back. It's a very happy memory.
Oh my gosh, so much nostalgia this morning. Those are beautiful memories. For me, I'm going to go to a more recent memory, and this one, every time I smell it, it takes me back to 2017. That was a big year for me because it was the year I became a mom.
Aww.
And when I had Jake, my little baby, I would always use this special baby laundry detergent. It was the Ivory brand. If you've seen it around at stores, it's usually in like a white container with the pink label, and it has a very particular smell. It's supposed to be more gentle for baby clothing, and every time I smell that laundry detergent, I don't use it anymore, so it's not something I smell regularly, but if I do get a scent of it, I'm instantly back to maternity leave, really tired, but my heart is so full, and I just picture my child as this little baby, and yeah, it takes me right back.
This is beautiful. Thank you, Aaron and Peter, for this little ticket to a trip down memory lane. We love this. I want to hear from our viewers. We all do. What's an everyday smell that instantly takes you back in time? Text us at 10400. Tell us a little story behind it, and we'll share these later in the show.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Well, in case you missed it, the Prescott Group offers meaningful programs and opportunities for people living with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Today, we're meeting one of the members with a passion for presenting the weather.
Michelina loves the weather so much, she started her own YouTube channel. CTV's Emma Convey stopped by during a recording to see how she puts it all together.
Good afternoon, everyone, and here's your weather report for today and the next few days.
Michelina Debacle practices her read before delivering her weekly forecast for Prescott News, a YouTube channel she started a year ago.
If there's a warning, then I'll talk about what the warning is, and then I get on with the 7-day forecast.
She's had a passion for weather since she was a kid, and her love for broadcasts started in high school.
When I was going to summer camps, I would write down the weather on a piece of paper and then show it to the camp counselors.
She's come a long way since joining the Prescott Group 10 years ago. Back then, she started on the PA system, and eventually her recordings were sent out to staff and members. These days, it's in front of a live audience, both in person and online.
Saturday night, showers, low +4. And for Sunday,
we try to encourage Michelina to do as much learning and skill development as possible for her weather. And any opportunity that she has, she's either teaching our participants, her coworkers and friends, and staff.
Michelina creates a backdrop using Canva. then records herself reading the weekly report from Environment Canada.
Dun, 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 dun. And I start talking. And it shows the Prescott logo, too, at the bottom corner, just like how on TV you would see the CTV symbol.
The team at the Prescott Group helps Michelina put it all together and hope teaching her these skills will open doors.
She has a great support staff, Hannah, that does it with her, so they work on the effects and the digital side of things and editing. So that's a whole other skill development that's coming along with it.
Michelina currently has 17 subscribers to her channel. And after she posts her report every Monday, the first thing she looks for are the views.
I want to get more viewers to watch it, just like to do with TV, but it's better than nothing. I have some way to be included.
Michelina's dream is to grow her YouTube following and share Prescott news with the world.
Michelina Balco, Prescott News, Halifax.
Very good. Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Awesome, very good.
Great job. All right, happening now in local news, Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont hints other Conservatives share his thoughts. This after he crossed the floor and joined the Liberals. Plus, investigators in Newfoundland are trying to figure out how a fish plant fire started. That plant employed more than 300 people and was destroyed Tuesday night. And the pitch, the premiere of a new doc that tells the creation of the Northern Super League, had a big crowd last night. We'll have those details coming up next in your local news headlines. But first, it's a look at the 3-day forecast with Latavia.
Thanks, Amanda. It is a cooler day ahead and a wet one at that for New Brunswick. Looking at mixed precipitation throughout your day with a high of 7 degrees, cooling down to -2 tonight. So quite a chilly night ahead. Friday, much of the same. We are going to see some sunshine, but also seeing showers and/or flurries. And then into Saturday, same thing applies, rain and/or snow with a high of 12, so definitely warming up. Nova Scotia looking at periods of rain throughout the day today with a high of 8 degrees. 5 on Friday with mainly sunny skies. Isolated showers return to Cape Breton Island. And then on Saturday, warming up to 12 degrees, but still seeing wet weather throughout the province. Prince Edward Island looking at a high of 7 today with rain. Sunshine returns on Friday, but we do have rain into the evening and again cooling down to 3 degrees. On Saturday, warming back up to 12, isolated showers.
It's Thursday, November 6th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, reaction continues to pour in after Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont with the Conservative caucus to join the Liberals. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And Risk Screen Tool. We'll look at a new online tool that can help you determine your risk factors for heart attack and stroke. That's coming up in this half hour on CTV's Your Morning Atlantic.
Good morning, Atlantic Canada. The time now is 6:59. We're inching towards the end of the work week, but it's been quite wet this week.
Oh my gosh.
On and off, on and off.
You've been working so hard this work week.
You really have.
Thank you for noticing.
It's true. You've been really putting it in behind the scenes. Yeah, go. Every time she's off air, she's working on the forecast because it's ever changing.
Yes, we have one system move out, and then we get a bit of sunshine. Another one moves in, and that's exactly what we're expecting into the weekend as well.
Wow. Well, you know what? Honestly, we need it, and it's been a long time coming. Yeah, when I was driving in this morning, I was looking at the rain falling down very heavy, and I thought, you know what? Thank you. Because we really needed to fill up the wells, fill up the water table.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a dry, but hopefully, they say we need several days of heavy rain to make up for the shortfall, so hopefully this is working.
Oh, this is what we're getting. Helps. Yeah. We have one system in right now and then another one right in behind it. So definitely helping with that precipitation and increasing those totals.
Another one?
Yes.
Okay, it's like a parade of systems.
Snow, rain, snow,
exactly.
rain.
I mean, they say don't rain on my parade, but
this is when it's a parade of rain and snow, then you know.
Move over, Barbara Streisand.
Exactly. Yep, pretty much. Oh my goodness. Okay, here's a live look at Fredericton. A wet start to your day. Keep that in mind when you are heading out. It is cold today. 3 degrees starting off your day in Fredericton, and it's going to remain quite cool for much of the region, cooling down even further in tomorrow. So just be prepared, bundle up, and make sure to have your rain gear when heading out early this morning. As of right now, 2 degrees over in Bathurst, 3 in Moncton, 6 degrees over in Yarmouth with 3 degrees in Halifax, -3 in Labrador City. And looking at 3 degrees in Corner Brook, 4 into St. John's, Newfoundland. Still seeing that coastal flooding warning and a coastal flooding statement in effect for parts of Newfoundland. Same thing goes for parts of Labrador, looking at that coastal flooding warning in effect. We are going to see mixed precipitation for much of Atlantic Canada yet again. We had the system move in Wednesday night, going to bring showers and or flurries for much of the region, seeing some light snowfall for parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. So we are going to see some rainfall and snow accumulation. So for our wind forecast, it's looking quite light starting off your day for all 3 maritime provinces. Will be picking up yet again, becoming strong into the afternoon. As of right now, though, sustained wind of 24 kilometers per hour for St. John, New Brunswick, 22 in Canso with 20 in Grand Manan and Greenwood. Wind gusts getting up to 35 kilometers per hour in Greenwood, 33 in St. John, New Brunswick, 31 in Canso and in Halifax. We'll have another look at your weather forecast just ahead, but first a look at your local news headlines with Amanda.
Thank you, Elsie. Reaction continues to pour in after a Nova Scotia MP jumped ship from the Conservatives to the governing Liberals. There were high fives and hugs all around as Chris D'Entremont entered the Liberal caucus room in Ottawa yesterday morning. He was escorted in by the Prime Minister. On the other side of the aisle, members of the Conservative Party accused him of breaking his promises to constituents and of acting on personal grievances. D'Entremont says it's simpler than that.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the Leader of the Opposition had been talking about.
D'Entremont suggested there are other Conservatives feeling the same way, but declined to name them. And here's what some of D'Entremont's constituents had to say about his decision.
Well, I'm excited because, we were kind of the only blue spot and a bunch of red before. So I'm excited to see what he'll bring now that he's switched over to the Liberal side. And, see what it does for Kingston and this Kings region. I think it'll be great.
I'm not very happy about that. I'm not very much impressed with the Liberals. They have done a lot of harm to the country. And I'm not very pleased that he did that.
I was kind of in the middle. I mean, I think he's always done a good job for Yarmouth, so whatever he feels is best is fine by me.
Chris has always sort of impressed me as somebody that has some smarts and some ethics and really does care about the riding that he's in.
D'Entremont won the riding of Acadie-Annapolis by a little more than 500 votes in the April election. It was the only Conservative win in the province. Now the Liberals have all 11 seats. The mayor of a community on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula says there was nothing the town or anybody could do to save the local fish plant, which provided over 300 jobs.
It just tore right through the building. It was just like kaboom. And I knew, I said, it's gone.
The fish plant in St. Mary's burned to the ground Tuesday night during a powerful storm that pounded the coast of eastern Newfoundland. Firefighters struggled in high winds and storm surge. No one was hurt, and investigators are trying to figure out how it started. The plant reopened in 2022 after sitting empty for 7 years. Mayor Steve Ryan says the plant was supposed to be the start of his town's recovery plan. Premier Tony Wakeham says the company behind the fish plant says they are exploring rebuilding. A seniors group in Moncton is still hoping for a new community center. The city repurposed the former Lions Community Center into a homeless shelter a couple of years ago, leaving seniors without a dedicated space. A new proposal would see a 6,000 square foot building built on a city lot. That's after the original plan to move into the bottom floor of a building on St. George Boulevard fell through.
You need a place for socialization for seniors. We're one of the few municipalities of this size that doesn't have a dedicated center for seniors.
Moncton City Council put aside money for a new center. If approved, construction could begin by spring. It was an important movie night at Pier 21 in Halifax last night.
After winning the gold, the outside world was like, okay, here it comes, like a women's professional soccer league. But we, as players, knew that it was still going to be a fight.
That is a scene from The Pitch, a new doc exploring the creation of the Northern Super League, a big step forward for professional sport and women's soccer in this country. The Emmy-nominated filmmaker says it's an important story that had to be told.
The Pitch is a film following Diana Matheson, former Olympic medalist, who decides after retirement to try and bring a professional league here in Canada.
Halifax Tides player Sid Kennedy and team president Val Malone were among those at the red carpet event last night. Finally, across the pond, Buckingham Palace will soon be home to the largest ever display of the late Queen's fashion. So the exhibition will include the gowns Queen Elizabeth II wore for her wedding and for her coronation. There will be 200 items, half of them never been displayed publicly before. I know. The exhibit, Queen Elizabeth II, Her Life in Style, will open on April 10th.
Where is this happening?
This is going to be happening across the pond, and it's going to be at, where is it going to be?
It's in England anyway.
It's going to be in England. You're going to have to go
next spring.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
Well, I guess I
would
don't have my vacation request in for work, but I will have to do that.
You have to do it.
Oh my gosh, we'll all go together.
Your favorite film, Anastasia.
Yes.
Right?
The crown, the dress,
the big gown.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. My mom's going to be visiting family at that time.
Is she?
So I wonder if she'll go.
At the very least, have her take pictures.
Yes, please.
That looks incredible. All right, this also incredible. Fireworks and drones lit up the sky in Egypt over the weekend, but it's worth a second look. Okay.
Whoa.
Check out this drone show to celebrate the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Drones formed images of Egyptian treasures like the throne of King Tut, the golden mask, the coffin, the ceremonial chariot. Like, wow. The celebration also featured laser and shadow shows projected onto the recently finished building. So just to sit with this for a second, you can get a little sense of the show. This is the free trip to Egypt I promised you earlier today.
Thank you.
Isn't this gorgeous?
Beautiful.
Look at there's the laser show. What, so neat. And this is brand new. So if you happen to be in Egypt, you can check this out. Take pictures and send them to us if you do go there.
Please, party at the museum.
Right?
Definitely a bucket list trip.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure. So
yes. Cool. 100%. All right, still ahead on the show, we're going to have your national news headlines. Latavia will have her latest look at the Thursday forecast as well. We're going to take a live look now at Burnt Code Head, not too far from Truro, Nova Scotia. Beautiful place to go for a hike, but if you're doing it today, you'll certainly want to pay attention to the forecast. Those details coming up next.
Happy Thursday, Atlantic Canada. The time now is 7:11. We're taking a live look at Clark's Harbor. A cloudy start to your day. We are expecting periods of rain as well, and it's cold. Keep that in mind when you are heading out. Currently 4 degrees in your area. Weather is brought to you by the Atlantic Lottery mobile app. It's quite cool right across the region, so bundle up. Right now, 3 degrees heading outdoors in Fredericton, as well as into Charlottetown, 2 degrees over in Halifax, 4 in Sydney, 0 in Happy Valley Goose Bay with 2 degrees in Cartwright, as well as into Gander, and 4 degrees in St. John's, Newfoundland. We do still have a coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland. This is until Friday. We're expecting some large waves, pounding storm surge, as well as high water levels expected, and we do have a coastal flooding statement in effect as well. A coastal flooding warning also in effect for parts of Labrador, something to keep in mind if you are in those communities. Over to our forecast timeline, another wet start to the day. We are seeing rain, at times heavy for parts of Nova Scotia. We are going to see mixed precipitation as well. You can see that indicated in the white, purple, and pink. That's going to be quite a wet start to the day as well. We will be seeing some snowfall accumulation, but not quite much. For Newfoundland and Labrador, though, we are going to see mixed precipitation as well. Starting to see the system move over to Newfoundland into the afternoon and starting to slowly clear out in the maritime region as we head towards this evening. Just a bit cloudy starting off your evening and then into the overnight hours, still holding on to a bit of precipitation for parts of Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. But into Friday, we will see sunshine return. But if you're wondering about our precipitation totals, we're only going to see around 2 to 5 millimeters for additional rainfall in southern New Brunswick, 5 to 10 for parts of Prince Edward Island, and the heaviest being 10 to 20 millimeters for parts of Nova Scotia. Also going to see 40 to 50 for parts of Newfoundland, so that's the heaviest we're experiencing, and 5 to 20 for parts of Labrador. For our snowfall outlook, looking at around 1 to 15 centimeters of snow accumulation for parts of Nova Scotia, looking at 1 to 15 for Labrador, and 1 to 5 for Newfoundland. Over to our forecast today, a wet day ahead for New Brunswick. Keep that in mind today. You may want to bring your rain gear. We are going to see mixed precipitation, showers and or flurries throughout your day. The wind out of the northwest, 30 gusting to 50, and highs between 4 to 8 degrees. Prince Edward Island looking at highs between 6 to 7. We are going to see rain throughout your day as well, and wind gusts getting strong into the afternoon with gusts of up to 70 kilometers per hour. For Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, rain also expected throughout your day, wind gusts of up to 50, and then the rest of Nova Scotia looking at highs between 7 to 8 degrees, periods of rain throughout your day as well. We are going to see some scattered flurries for Labrador City with a high of 0, 8 degrees into St. John's, Newfoundland, mainly sunny skies. Rain arrives into the evening. Over to our forecast for Friday. Sunshine returns, but it's going to be the coldest day of the week, so keep that in mind as well. We are still holding on to a bit of snow for parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. And then we have another system moving in Friday night into early Saturday morning, seeing some mixed precipitation for parts of New Brunswick and that wet weather tracking right across the Maritime region. That's a look at your weather forecast. We'll throw things over to Amanda for your national and international news headlines.
Thank you, Latavia. After the budget was introduced this week, many are wondering whether the average Canadian will see any immediate impacts. CTV's Abigail Beeman looks to find some answers.
Morning. How are you?
At an Ottawa light rail yard the morning after the budget, the Prime Minister highlighted its $51 billion local infrastructure fund.
Canada's strength wasn't built in the halls of Parliament. It was built in our communities.
An attempt to make a high-level budget he calls generational relevant, as many economists say there aren't many takeaways for the average Canadian's daily life.
The government is moving in the right direction, but seem hesitant to go all in on this.
Economist Randall Bartlett points to previously announced tax cuts and a new promise to lower bank fees as impactful, but says it's tricky to find the narrative.
The amount of support that was provided to the economy is less than we were expecting. We looked at the depth of the cuts. It was less than we were expecting.
They're worried about how they're going to pay for their grocery bills. They're worried about how they're going to afford tuition. They're worried if they don't have a doctor. And this budget doesn't do anything for them.
Conservatives call it a costly budget.
Never before have Canadians had to spend so much to get so little.
The big bet that Mark Carney's making in this budget is on the patience of Canadians.
Scott Reid calls it a 30,000-foot budget with measures to reorient our economy and restructure business investment taking as long as a decade to see tangible impacts.
They may be absolutely necessary, but they are not urgent. And Canadians tend to think, worry, and vote on the basis of urgency.
Reid says the government needs to focus now on showing Canadians how this budget could help them on an ongoing basis, not just on budget day. The government tells CTV News today's train depot announcement was just the beginning of a cross-country tour to promote the budget.
CTV's Abigail Beeman reporting in Ottawa. A quick break here on Your Morning Atlantic. When we return, we'll have details on a new screening tool provided by the Heart and Stroke Foundation. That's coming up next.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Heart disease and stroke are the #1 cause of premature death in women in Canada. But 80% of premature heart disease and stroke cases can be prevented. That's where a new risk screening tool comes in, created by the Heart and Stroke. 9 in 10 people in Canada have at least one risk factor for stroke or heart disease. Here to tell us more is Christine Faubert, Vice President of Health Equity and Mission Impact for Heart and Stroke, who helped create the new risk screening tool. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, Crystal.
This is an exciting conversation. I want to hear more. Tell us about why you created Risk Screen.
Yeah, well, you provided some stats for now. It's quite alarming. A lot of people are impacted by our condition, heart disease and stroke. So we really created this tool, Heart and Stroke created this tool to really enable the public, so anybody in Canada, to really try to understand what are their own risks for heart disease and stroke. And so the tool really helps to identify one's personal risk, but also to support in terms of giving tips or actions they can take to really reduce or manage their risk. So it's a really personalized kind of like approach to understand one's own unique risk.
How do risk factors differ between men and women?
Yeah, great question. So there's a lot of risk factors that are actually the same for men and women, like the typical ones around physical activity, lifestyle related ones like diet or smoking and all of that. But there's also unique risk to women, especially when we think about women's unique life stages with like things like pregnancy or around perimenopause or menopause or after menopause. So some of the risks that are the same as men, sometimes some of them will impact women differently, but there's also these unique risks. As an example, during pregnancy, some women might have gestational diabetes or hypertensive disorders of pregnancy. So that actually increase their lifetime risk of heart disease and stroke in the future. So and same around menopause, we know that there's a drop in estrogen and there's a lot of changes here that happens which used to protect women from heart disease in the future. And so it's important for women to know that these risks are unique to them and then how they can actually reduce them or take steps to prevent them.
Very interesting. How does Risk Screen work?
Yes, so Risk Screen, it's actually an online tool. It can be found on Heart and Stroke's website, so heartandstroke.ca/riskscreen. It's a free tool. It's also quite simple to complete and very fast. It doesn't require anyone to know their specific medical information or specific health information, like one's blood pressure or whatnot. So how it works is that you go through a number of questions. So questions include a variety of risks, so things like lifestyle-related risk, clinical risk, things like previous conditions, family history, and all of that. There's also those risks that are unique to women. So there's a number of questions around those risks. And then at the end, you actually get your personalized risk profile, and then you'll get a report with very useful recommendations and tips on what you can do to learn more about your risk or to manage or reduce them.
Oh, that you started to answer my last question. It was like, what when you do find out, let's just say you do realize, oh my gosh, I am at risk. What are the next steps after that?
Exactly. So based on the one's risk profile, we'll provide a number of recommendations. Of course, you mentioned, Crystal, at the beginning, there's a lot of the risk can actually be prevented. So things like lifestyle changes. So how important it is, for example, to eat healthy, to try to stay active as much as possible. But also there's risks that cannot be changed, but are really, really critical for people to know. For example, if there's a history of heart disease or stroke in your family, and depending at what age those events or conditions started or happened, that's really important. As I mentioned, for women to understand their unique risk as women is critical as well. So it can guide conversation with your healthcare provider or conversations with your family, and things that are quite simple to do or to try to integrate that make actually a big difference.
Well, this has been very eye-opening. Thank you so much for creating the Risk Screen tool, Christine.
My pleasure. We're really excited at Heart and Stroke. I think it's going to have a huge impact in Canada, and we're excited about seeing people in Canada actually know and understand their risk in the future.
For sure, that's empowerment. And we put a link to the Risk Screen tool on our website. It is from Heart and Stroke, and so that you can check it out right now.
Thank you.
Taking a look at our 3-day forecast yet again, we're seeing mixed precipitation across New Brunswick with a high of 7. Cooling down tonight, quite cold, -2. On Friday, we're looking at a high of 6. Sunshine for much of the province. We do have some isolated flurries tracking across parts of the province. And then into Saturday, warming back up to a high of 12. Rain and or snow across New Brunswick. For Nova Scotia, looking at periods of rain across the province today with a high of 8 degrees. A 5 on Friday, quite a chilly day ahead. Sunshine for much of the province. We do have isolated showers continuing for Cape Breton Island. And then for Saturday, warming up to 12 degrees, but seeing wet weather persist across the province. Prince Edward Island seeing a wet day ahead as well with a high of 7. On Friday, a high of 3 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud with evening rain. And then on Saturday, a high of 12, but isolated showers remain.
Coming up in this half hour, Rebreed Lions. That's the name of the brand new book by TSN senior correspondent and author Rick Westhead. He'll join us to talk about the book and hockey's moment of reckoning. That's coming up in 15 minutes on CTV's Your Morning Atlantic.
Come in, join us. We could pull up a chair or two. We'll make room for you. We're so happy you're here. 7:30, halfway through the show on this Thursday, November 6th. Now, I was saying to Amanda today, this week feels like it's going by slowly to me.
Right?
But the whole year is ripping by. It's like 2025 didn't even happen. It's just been such a blur for me.
49 days till Christmas.
Wow.
Only.
Yeah, we've got to get cracking. We got to get cracking.
Already
She's
in the
like,
holiday
well,
cheer.
I'm in the wrapping stage of my gift list, probably.
Oh, no, not that far. But I got to tell you, I am just getting my plan ready for Christmas at the Forum this week.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Yes.
4 days it's going to be running for. You can buy your tickets online now.
Yeah. Great for gifts.
Yeah, and you pick the time you want to go. I'm actually going to be stopping by to get an early preview and give you all the details for tomorrow's show.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's a huge tradition. I'm ready to start thinking about Christmas.
I'm ready. I've been singing Christmas carols since like September.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm ready to go.
I love that energy. Okay, are we going to have Christmassy weather in our forecast?
Oh, yeah, we are.
Oh, interesting.
Parts of the region seeing snow and wet snow. But most of the region seeing precipitation, as you can see here in our live eye for Moncton, a dark, gloomy start to the day. We do have wet weather, something to keep in mind when you are heading out, and bundle up. It is quite cool across Atlantic Canada early this morning. 3 degrees starting off your day over in Moncton. 3 degrees also into Charlottetown, 2 in Halifax, 4 in Sydney, and 4 degrees also into St. John's, Newfoundland. Still holding on to that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland, as well as a coastal flooding statement. We do still have that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Labrador. Something to keep in mind if you are in those communities today. Over to a satellite and radar. Another low has moved in, bringing mixed precipitation our way. We're looking at rain for much of the Maritime region. Also going to see a bit of snow and wet snow. So something to keep in mind as well if you're heading out early this morning. In terms of the wind starting off light, will pick up into the afternoon. As of right now, out of the north and northwest, 30 kilometers per hour in Grand Etang, 26 in Canso, 28 into St. John, New Brunswick. Wind gusts getting up to 41 kilometers per hour right now in Grand Etang, 43 in Grand Manan, 37 in St. John, and 39 in Canso. We'll have another look at your forecast just coming up, but first a look at your local news with Amanda.
Thank you so much, Latavia. And we begin with the impacts of the weather. The mayor of a community on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula says there was nothing the town or anybody could do to save the local fish plant, which provided over 300 jobs.
It just tore right through the bin. It was just like kaboom. And I knew, I said, it's gone.
The fish plant in St. Mary's burned to the ground Tuesday night during a powerful storm that pounded the coast of eastern Newfoundland. Firefighters struggled in high winds and coastal storm surge. No one was hurt, and investigators are now trying to figure out how the fire started. This plant reopened in 2022 after sitting empty for 7 years. Mayor Steve Ryan says the plant was supposed to be the start of his town's recovery plan. Premier Tony Wakeham says the company behind the fish plant says they are exploring rebuilding. Reaction continues to pour in this morning after a Nova Scotia MP jumped ship from the Conservatives to the governing Liberals. There were high fives and hugs all around as Chris D'Entremont entered the Liberal caucus room in Ottawa yesterday morning. He was escorted in by the Prime Minister. On the other side of the aisle, members of the Conservative Party accused him of breaking his promises to constituents and of acting on personal grievances. D'Entremont says it is simpler than that.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the leader of the opposition had been talking about.
D'Entremont suggested there are other Conservatives feeling the same way but declined to name them. A Conservative MP since 2019, D'Entremont won his seat in the last election with a narrow 1.1% margin of victory. That was just 533 votes. In New Brunswick, it was standing room only at the Lorneville Community Centre in St. John last night for an open house on a proposed AI data centre that would be built in the recently expanded Spruce Lake Industrial Park.
Arabia, why don't just pretend you're not from here and take it somewhere else?
Over the course of 3 hours, area residents had the opportunity to ask questions and learn more about the proposed facility. If it passes an environmental assessment, the data hub would be built in partnership between Beacon AI Centres and VoltaGrid. VoltaGrid president and CEO Nathan O was born in St. John and says he is ready to work alongside the residents of Lorneville.
It's a real win for us to actually understand what is the sentiment in the community, to get an understanding of just the kind of the background of what's gone in Lorneville, so that we can incorporate that into the message going forward.
They're coming in with 50+ years of issues with this community that have had with all levels of government and issues. That's not VoltaGrid's fault. That's not Beacon IA's fault, but it's something they have to navigate and deal with.
This is the first project being proposed for the area since the city approved the controversial expansion of the industrial park over the summer. A 27-year-old man is facing drug charges for allegedly trying to bring opium into the country. Cape Breton Regional Police say they worked with other agencies to search a home in Sydney where a package of dried opium poppy pods were seized. Ramneek Singh has been charged with importation and possession of a controlled substance. He will face a judge next month. After years of delays, New Brunswick's energy minister says he wants to see the Mactaquac Dam refurbishment get a move on. It's now estimated the project would cost about $9 billion. On Wednesday, the minister tabled legislation to remove some bureaucracy and allow NB Power to proceed.
The Mactaquac Life Achievement Project is going to go forward at one point. It's been studied since 2016. Unfortunately, a lot of time was wasted the last 6 years. We probably should have started. They re-studied to find other options. The board has re-looked at it for almost a decade now. It's going to go ahead. How is another story.
The dam provides about 12% of New Brunswick's power needs. The refurbishment is expected to take 15 years. If you play the lotto in Newfoundland and Labrador, you'll want to check your tickets this morning. Atlantic Lotto says a Lotto 649 ticket sold in Newfoundland for yesterday's draw is worth $5 million. Atlantic Lotto says details on the prize winner will be released as soon as they come forward. Finally, Netflix has released a sneak peek at the new Sesame Street.
Oh, there you are. I'm so happy you're here on Sesame Street.
The streaming giant has dropped a new trailer for the beloved children's show at its new home with a reimagination of its format. Season 56 kicks off on Monday. Viewers also will still have the option to watch the show on PBS. Netflix scooped up the show last year from HBO Max.
Thank goodness, the legend lives on.
I know.
You know, Sesame Street's always been so ahead of its...
Oh, Oscar. Oh, I loved him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and his friend, the worm. Oh, yeah. These... Wow. Bring it on. It sure was.
Big.
Can't lie, though. Tickle Me Elmo. Oh, my goodness.
The eye twitch.
Goes and goes and goes. You put him in a bin and he's still talking. You have to take the batteries out.
You have it?
Yes, we do. For the boys, right? But I was like, too much. Elmo, shh, shh, shh.
Elmo.
But Elmo's even on Miss Rachel now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he's traveling around.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Two icons.
Cool.
I've always loved his relationship with Rocco.
Right?
He doesn't like Rocco. It's hilarious.
Well,
hilarious.
I mean, that could be definitely fodder for the Move Morning Chat, your favorite children's show growing up. But that's not today's question.
No.
Yeah, today we're asking, what's an everyday smell that instantly takes you back in time? Please send us a text at 10400 with your answer. We would love to hear it and share it later on in the show. Latavia, we didn't get your smell that takes you back.
Oh, my goodness. That's a tough one.
It is.
I have a shirt from my dad that I kept. It was like the last shirt he wore. And I have it in a box. So when I take it out, sometimes if I'm looking for something, I pass by it and I smell it. I don't know if that's gross, but like
not at all.
It just reminds me of him. Or like if I smell someone's cologne that like he used to wear, I'm just like,
wow, that's a powerful memory.
Yeah, but other than that, nothing really.
You should maybe put that shirt in a Ziploc. It might keep the scent even more intact.
After years, it's been quite a long time now. It's losing its scent, but it still feels like a warm hug when I pick it up.
Oh, what a beautiful memory.
That is beautiful. Yeah, find any way you can to preserve that for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I was talking about baby laundry detergent. That was
sorry to bring you down. Yeah.
No, we're not
bringing you down. No, it's just the power of scent. It still connects you.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear from our viewers. I bet that we've got some powerful scents. It doesn't have to be a beautiful, touching story, though. It could just be a fun one.
Yeah.
It's true. Family members' perfume. Listen, it's because we love.
Absolutely.
Party days. Who knows, right?
What is it? Vodka ice? What do they call Smirnoff Ice?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow. Okay. See, the hits keep coming. Even another suggestion for a chat.
Go to break.
What was your favorite drink back when you were in your partying days? Anywho, we need to take a break. It's now 7:39. And we're going to have coming up recent court cases and allegations definitely have been in the news. A new book, We Breed Lions, touches on the wider issues surrounding hockey culture. We'll chat with Rick Westhead next.
A wet start to the day as well for Charlottetown. Good morning, Atlantic Canada. The time now is 7:43. 3 degrees starting off your day. It is a cool start to the day. It will remain quite cold today, so keep that in mind when you are heading out. You may want to allot some extra time out on your morning commute. We are seeing cool temperatures really right across Atlantic Canada. Early this morning, 2 degrees starting off your day in Fredericton. Also 2 starting off your day in Halifax. 4 early this morning in Sydney. -3 degrees in Labrador City. We do have a coastal flooding warning that remains in effect for parts of Newfoundland. We are expecting large waves, pounding surf. Storm surge will produce high water levels until Friday, with a coastal flooding statement also in effect. That coastal flooding warning also in effect for parts of Labrador. Over to the current system we're dealing with across Atlantic Canada, bringing some mixed precipitation our way. Into parts of New Brunswick, we are looking at that wet snow expected. Going to see some wet snow, so rain transitioning over to wet snow for mainland Nova Scotia and parts of Cape Breton Island, and still going to see snow for much of Labrador. And this system will continue to move into Newfoundland, bringing mixed precipitation their way as well. As we head towards the evening, we start to see this pressure system, low pressure system, move out, but we're still going to see some remaining precipitation for Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island as we inch towards early Friday morning, where we are going to see sunshine for the most part, but still holding on to a bit of precipitation starting off your day. If you're wondering about precipitation totals, 2 to 5 millimeters expected for southern New Brunswick. For Prince Edward Island, looking at around 5 to 10 for Charlottetown. The heaviest for the Maritime region is in Nova Scotia at around 10 to 20 millimeters. And then for Labrador, looking at around 5 to 20 millimeters of precipitation, the heaviest being 40 to 50 for parts of Newfoundland. And then we're going to take a look at our snowfall outlook. We are going to see totals accumulate, looking at around 1 to 15 centimeters of snowfall for parts of Nova Scotia, 1 to 15 as well for Labrador, and only 1 to 5 centimeters for parts of Newfoundland. For our forecast today for New Brunswick, a wet day ahead. We are seeing showers and flurries across the province. Highs between 4 to 7 degrees and being the warmest into 8 degrees for Miramichi. Wind gusts getting up to 50 kilometers per hour. For Prince Edward Island, also dealing with wet weather throughout your day. Wind picking up into the afternoon out of the northwest, 40 gusting to 70. And then for Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, same thing applies. You're going to see some wet weather ahead, taking us into early tomorrow morning. And then for the rest of Nova Scotia, periods of rain throughout your day, wind gusts of up to 70. Labrador City dealing with some scattered flurries throughout the day with a high of 0, 8 degrees into St. John's, Newfoundland, looking at mainly sunny skies and then transitions over to rain into the evening. So over to our forecast timeline for Friday. Sunshine returns for much of the Maritime region. Do not let that fool you. It's going to be the coldest day of the week. We are also going to see some snow remain in parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. Precipitation will return as we inch towards the evening hours into early Saturday morning. Mixed precipitation returns yet again for much of the Maritime region, Crystal.
Thank you, Latavia. It's now 7:46. Now, 3.5 years ago, TSN investigative reporter Rick Westhead broke a story that shocked the hockey world and the country. Several players from Canada's 2018 World Junior team had been accused of sexual assault. And Hockey Canada had reached a confidential settlement with the plaintiff. The settlement was paid from a secret slush fund used to handle complaints like this quietly. The news shocked many and led to what many see as a moment of reckoning for Canada's beloved game. Rick Westhead's new book, We Breed Lions, looks deep into the state of hockey today and at the sometimes toxic and troubled culture around the national pastime. We welcome Rick to our show this morning. Rick, congratulations on the book. Good morning to you.
Hi, thanks, and good morning.
Now, you have been recognized as being a fearless journalist, but when you broke the story back in 2022, there must have been at least a little fear in your heart.
Not really. This story started before breaking that story. Back in 2021, TSN, we reported more than 40 stories about an allegation made by an NHL player. We didn't know his identity throughout that year. It would turn out to be Kyle Beach, and he came on TSN for a full, extensive interview. But we did 40 stories on Kyle's allegations that he was sexually assaulted by a coach with the Chicago Blackhawks. And after that reporting, I can tell you to this day, there has not been a week gone by in 4 years that I haven't received a real credible tip about misconduct in Canadian amateur sports, a lot of them in hockey. And this story started in May 2022 with an anonymous caller I know who the caller is, but I'm not identifying them, who said, there's a case in London that you really need to look into that's absolutely in the public interest, and that's how this all started.
Interesting. I didn't know that backstory. It's true, when you have compelling evidence, it takes the fear away because the evidence, is so strong that you just can't refute it. You said, I know the response was mixed. I know some people in the high levels of hockey were not exactly thrilled that you broke this story, but I understand that people were grateful that you did. Tell us more about the response from people after you broke the story.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's been a non-ending, like even up until yesterday, with receiving more tips about people who feel like they don't have anywhere else to go because they either don't trust the police where they live, or they don't trust the organizations, or they simply don't know how to file complaints of misconduct allegations. It's definitely a polarizing subject. There are going to be people who don't want to talk about this, don't want to hear it. But that's nothing new for investigative journalism. Back in 2001, when the Boston Globe broke so many amazing stories about how the Catholic Church in that city was moving around priests who had been accused of sexually assaulting children, the response from the church was interesting. You had a prominent priest calling for the wrath of God to come down on journalists. You had people saying, why can't you focus on the good deeds that the church does? And so my point is, when you have uncomfortable truths that journalists are reporting on, we expect that there's going to be blowback, and this is a situation like that.
It's interesting you bring up religion, because it's almost like hockey is religion-like in our country, and that's why I wonder if there might be some fear with the retaliation. Now that the book is out, what are you hoping to achieve by people reading this book?
Well, I think that my real goal is that people within hockey will read it. They're not going to. There are going to be many who don't want to. There's already been a prominent Hockey Hall of Famer named Kevin Lowe, who played and starred with the Edmonton Oilers, who went on social media and suggested that the only reason I was writing this book was because I was cut from hockey teams when I was a kid, or I didn't get enough ice time. I love hockey. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to play hockey this morning. I play it 3-4 times a week. I coached my boy all the way through his U18 year. Some of the best friends I have are through hockey, and there's amazing people volunteering and working in this game. But the game is so great that it deserves this sort of scrutiny, right? People should be confident that when they're dropping their kids off at a rink, that their kids are as safe as possible. And simply saying, well, we don't want to talk about this because it's an uncomfortable situation, to me, that's just not acceptable. I think we have to talk about these things. We've been here before. And back in the 1990s, Sheldon Kennedy, a Canadian hero now, came out with his story of sexual assault. And guess what? Governments across Canada and hockey institutions promised change. Never again. We can never let this happen again. But before long, people wanted to turn the page because it was an uncomfortable subject. The news cycle moves fast, and a lot of the promises of reform were abandoned. And I think it's important to make sure that doesn't happen now.
Well, Rick, we're out of time. Thank you so much. I know that Stephen Brunt's essay, the front of the book, even that is worth a read, just to give some context to what you're saying. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The book, We Breed Lions, is available now. And we'll turn our attention now over to Amanda with Health News.
Thank you, Crystal and Rick. A new report focusing on the experience of Black women in the healthcare system paints a disturbing picture of the impact of racial discrimination, and it's raising concerns. CTV's Pauline Chan has more in Your Health.
Transforming and shifting.
The report is called Voices Unheard, and it's the first Canadian survey ever of Black women and girls focusing on health.
I have lived with very dark and dangerous thoughts for approximately 3 years.
The researchers collected the experiences of almost 2,000 women and girls in Canada, and there were clear themes. 2/3 felt their health concerns were frequently dismissed, and 42.4% had delayed or avoided health care due to fears of how they would be treated as a Black woman. Nadia Thompson has been dealing with complex chronic conditions for 4 years.
They did not necessarily consider that what I was
feeling was really affecting my quality of life. So there might have been some comments about me needing to just lose weight or change some of my other habits.
U of Calgary professor Bukola Salami says concrete evidence of the consequences is there.
In the US and UK, that Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during childbirth. In Canada, we keep it sealed. We don't collect the data.
She's calling for the collection of race-based data in Canada.
We need more resources in this area to really actually unravel, because if we don't collect the data, if we don't analyze the data, publish the results, we're never going to be able to find a solution.
Thompson says one solution for her was finding a doctor who happened to be Black and who listened to her experiences.
I think a lot of it comes with that bias that maybe we are strong or strong enough to manage what we're dealing with on our own without getting that support. And that can come from many different places where those assumptions come from, but I think sometimes that prevents them from taking us seriously.
And she says the impact is not just on the individual patient, but on their family, their workplace, and ultimately Canadian society as a whole if a person is not able to live a full and successful life. You can find the complete Voices Unheard report through the Black Women's Institute for Health. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
And now we'd like to introduce you to the Maritimers who are marking milestones today. It's a 60th anniversary for Sharon and Selden Brown of Woodstock, New Brunswick.
Happy anniversary, you two. Great photo.
Oh, yeah.
60 years.
Incredible.
It's also a 60th anniversary for Medrick and Norma d'Entremont of West Pubnico, Nova Scotia. A wonderful then photo. This photo was taken 60 years ago today, Latavia.
Amazing. Happy anniversary. It's also a 60th anniversary for Dale and Joyce Shaw of St. John, New Brunswick.
Great photo. Oh my gosh, the Shaw is looking fantastic on their special day. To see your milestone again or find out how to submit one, visit our website by scanning that QR code on your screen. And a reminder, milestones must be received at least 2 weeks in advance.
Milestones, brought to you by the Berkeley Retirement Residences. Love this stage of life.
All right, now we're going to take another look at the 3-day forecast, looking at mixed precipitation across New Brunswick today with a high of 7. 6 degrees on Friday, still seeing mainly sunny skies, but also some isolated flurries. And then on Saturday, 12 degrees with rain and or snow across the province. Nova Scotia dealing with wet weather as well today, rain with a high of 8. On Friday, as we end off the work week, sunshine for much of the province, but we do have isolated showers for Cape Breton Island. Warming back up on Saturday, but still seeing wet weather across the province, a high of 12. Prince Edward Island looking at rain today with a high of 7 degrees. Cooling down on Friday, 3 degrees with sunshine, but rain returns into the evening. Transitions over to isolated showers with a high of 12.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Day, November 6th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, a fish plant in rural Newfoundland has been reduced to rubble, and we'll have this story as well about Nova Scotia MP from Yarmouth crossing the floor. Those details coming up in your local news headlines.
And the Spice program, we meet another entrepreneur who's been helped by the Center for Women in Business program. That's a little later in this half hour of our morning, Your Morning Atlantic to be precise.
Hey, good morning, Atlantic. It's 8 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Thank you so much for getting up early and joining us, whether you're just tuning in now or you're going to be, or you've been tuning in for the past couple of hours. Your time is precious, so we do appreciate you spending some of your morning.
Yes. Yeah. We do our best to jam-pack this show with as much information as we can to help you get your day started on the right note. I know you've got tons of news.
Absolutely.
Weather-wise, though, today, you really do want to listen to what Latavia has to say before you head out the door.
Absolutely. We are seeing that mixed precipitation. So another system has moved in Wednesday night, bringing us that mixture of wet weather. So keep that in mind when you are heading out. It's feeling quite cold across the region as well early this morning. So here's a live look at Antigonish. You can see here, roads are very wet. Keep this in mind when you are heading out. You may want to allot some extra time out on your morning commute. Right now, it is 3 degrees in your area, and we are seeing those cooler temperatures early this morning. So make sure to layer up before heading out. 2 degrees starting off your day in Fredericton with 3 in Charlottetown, 4 in Sydney with 2 degrees in Halifax, 5 into St. John's, Newfoundland. Still seeing that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland as well as a coastal flooding statement. And we also have that coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Labrador. Here's a look at this new system that's moving across the maritime region as of right now, bringing some mixed precipitation our way. Also, Newfoundland and Labrador dealing with light snowfall and a mixture of flurries and or showers. Over to our current wind for the maritime region, starting off slow, picking up into the afternoon, becoming quite strong. As of right now, out of the north and northwest, 30 kilometers per hour in Grand Etang, 28 into St. John, New Brunswick, 26 in Canso. Wind gusts getting up to 41 kilometers per hour in Grand Etang, 43 in Grand Manan, 37 into St. John, New Brunswick. We'll have another look at your forecast coming up, but first a look at your local news with Amanda.
Thank you, Latavia. Time is 8:02. The mayor of a community on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula says there was nothing the town or anybody could do to save the local fish plant, which provided over 300 jobs.
It just tore right through the building. It was just like kaboom. And I knew, I said, it's gone.
The fish plant in St. Mary's burned to the ground Tuesday night during a powerful storm that pounded the coast of eastern Newfoundland. Firefighters also struggled in high winds and coastal storm surge. No one was hurt, and investigators are now trying to figure out how the fire started. The plant reopened in 2022 after sitting empty for 7 years. Mayor Steve Ryan says the plant was supposed to be the start of his town's recovery plan. Premier Tony Wakeham says the company behind the fish plant says they are exploring rebuilding. In Nova Scotia, reaction continues to pour in after MP Chris D'Entremont jumped ship from the Conservatives to join the governing Liberals. Here's what some of his constituents had to say about the decision.
Well, I'm excited because, we were kind of the only blue spot and a bunch of red before, so I'm excited to see what he'll bring now that he's switched over to the Liberal side. And, see what it does for Kingston and this Kings region. I think it'll be great.
I'm not very happy about that. I'm not very much impressed with the Liberals. They have done a lot of harm to the country, and I'm not very pleased that he did that.
I was kind of in the middle. I mean, I think he's always done a good job for Yarmouth, so whatever he feels is best is fine by me.
Chris has always sort of impressed me as somebody that has some smarts and some ethics, and really does care about the riding that he's in.
D'Entremont won the riding of Acadianapolis by a little more than 500 votes in the April election. It was the only Conservative win in the province. Now the Liberals have all 11 seats. A 27-year-old man is facing drug charges for allegedly trying to bring opium into the country. Cape Breton Regional Police say they worked with other agencies to search a home in Sydney where a package of dried opium poppy pods were seized. Ramneek Singh has been charged with importation and possession of a controlled substance. He'll face a judge next month. Collecting the Daily Mail has become a hassle for people who live in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. The local post office is closed thanks to a water leak. It means customers are driving to Amherst to pick up mail. That's about an hour round trip.
The latest info that I have is that they're looking at least a 2-month reconstruction period to repair the damage to water damage in the existing building that they have there in Spring Hill.
The mayor says the town offered Canada Post space in the municipal building, but in an email to CTV News, the corporation says it wasn't suitable for safe postal services. After years of delays, New Brunswick's energy minister says he wants to see the Mactaquac Dam refurbishment get a move on. It's now estimated the project would cost about $9 billion. On Wednesday, the minister tabled legislation to remove some bureaucracy and allow NB Power to proceed.
The Mactaquac Life Achievement Project is going to go forward at one point. It's been studied since 2016. Unfortunately, a lot of time was wasted last 6 years. We probably should have started. They re-studied to find other options. The board has re-looked at it for almost a decade now. It's going to go ahead. How is another story.
The dam provides about 12% of New Brunswick's power needs. The refurbishment is expected to take 15 years. Finally, one of the surprise hits of the summer, K-pop Demon Hunters, has reportedly gotten the green light for a sequel. Yes, Rumi. Okay, the animated musical movie tells the story of a trio of pop idols who fight supernatural demons. K-pop Demon Hunters has become the most watched original movie on Netflix ever. It's also claimed #1s at the box office and on the music charts. It was created and co-directed by Canadian Maggie Kang, who told CTV back in September she was very excited to dive into the world again. That was amid rumors of a planned sequel. Deadline now reports Netflix and Sony are preparing for a 2029 release of K-pop Demon Hunters 2. And the companies, they didn't comment on the report.
So it takes a while to get something like this made then. It's not coming out till 2029.
No, it's a long time. But I mean, they weren't expecting it to be such a huge hit. And now you see them just panicking, trying to pump out merchandise.
You know what that means? We're going to have to listen to Amanda talk about this till 2029.
Exactly. I'm almost scared to watch it.
Right?
You watched it just kind of on a whim, and now it's taken over your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I shouldn't watch it just so I can protect us all from the demons.
Every time I'm like looking at it, go to watch, I'm like, okay, let me try. I'm like, nah, I can't.
I know.
Why can't you?
I had it downloaded on my phone to watch on the plane, but I'm like, no, I'm scared.
I don't want K-pop demon fever right now.
I mean, like singing the songs just seals the honeymoon. It just protects
I know.
everything.
You're the tastemaker of our studio. I know that you've got us all into curling now. You know,
Right?
you're your own child now into curling. If you're a curling fan, then we've got a contest for you. CTV's Your Morning Atlantic and Curling Canada are teaming up for the Shot Rock Sweepstakes. Canada's top curling teams are headed to Nova Scotia to decide who will represent Canada in 4-player curling at the 2026 Olympic Winter Games. They're right around the corner. So is this. The 2025 Montana's Canadian Curling Trials are happening from November 22nd to the 30th at Halifax's Scotiabank Centre. It's your chance to see a level of intensity only captured in curling once every 4 years. So one winner will win 2 full event packages to the trials. To enter, hurry hard to our website. There's the QR code. Good luck to you.
Oh, it's going to be fun. All right, still ahead this half hour, another delicious segment with one of the entrepreneurs from the Spice program. But first, Latavia's latest look at the Thursday forecast. Here's a live look at the Halifax waterfront. You will not want to be climbing the waves today. It's going to be very slippery. More details on the wet weather coming up.
Welcome back. The time now is 8:11. We're taking a live look at Port de Grave. 5 degrees starting off your day. We will be seeing increasing cloudiness and more wet weather is ahead into the afternoon. Keep that in mind when you are heading out. Weather is brought to you by the Atlantic Lottery mobile app. Another cool start to the day. Temperatures are going to continue to get cooler, so keep that in mind. It's going to be a cold end to the work week. As of right now, it is 2 degrees heading outdoors in Fredericton, 4 in Charlottetown and in Sydney, only 1 degree in Halifax, 1 also starting off your day in Happy Valley Goose Bay, 5 degrees into St. John's, Newfoundland. We do still have a coastal flooding warning in effect. This is for today until Friday. We are expecting large waves. Pounding surf, storm surge will produce higher water levels. Also a coastal flooding statement in effect. For parts of Newfoundland, Labrador rather, also seeing coastal flooding warning in effect along the coast. So here's a look at our forecast timeline. We are seeing mixed precipitation for much of Atlantic Canada today. Seeing a bit of sunshine starting off the day for parts of Newfoundland, but this system will continue to move over into the afternoon. We are going to see mixed precipitation for parts of New Brunswick as well as Cape Breton Island. Parts of mainland Nova Scotia early in this morning, rain mixed with snow. And then into the evening, we start to see some clearing. And then leaving cloudy skies and taking us into early Friday morning, we are still seeing precipitation for parts of the Maritime region, but that will clear out as well. If you're wondering about rainfall totals, it's going to be quite light for parts of New Brunswick, only seeing around 2 to 5 millimeters from now until early Friday morning. This is additional precipitation we're expecting. 5 to 10 millimeters for Charlottetown, and the heaviest for the Maritimes is in Nova Scotia at around 10 to 20 millimeters expected. Heaviest being for parts of Newfoundland, though, 40 to 50 millimeters. Over to our snowfall outlook, we will be seeing some totals accumulate for parts of Nova Scotia, looking at around 1 to 15 centimeters of snowfall, and then seeing 1 to 15 as well for parts of Labrador, only 1 to 5 centimeters for parts of Newfoundland. It's going to be a wet day ahead for New Brunswick, so we are expecting mixed precipitation, showers and or flurries throughout your day. Wind gusts getting up to 50 kilometers per hour. And then for Prince Edward Island, seeing highs between 6 to 7 degrees. We are expecting rain throughout your day. Wind gusts getting up to 70 kilometers per hour. And then for Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, also seeing a wet day ahead, wind gusts of up to 50. For the rest of Nova Scotia, wind gusts remain strong into the afternoon, gusting up to 70, and that wet weather returning throughout the day as well. And then for Labrador City, scattered flurries today with a high of 0. 9 degrees into St. John's, Newfoundland. We are looking at mainly sunny skies. Rain moving into the afternoon, carrying into the evening. So for our forecast on Friday, lots of sunshine. The coldest day ahead, though, for the work week. Keep that in mind. You're going to want to bundle up yet again. Still seeing snow track across parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. And then we have another system moving in Friday night into Saturday morning, bringing a messy mix across the Maritime region for our weekend forecast. That's a look at your weather forecast. We'll throw things over to Amanda for your national and international news headlines.
After the budget was introduced this week, many are wondering whether the average Canadian will see any immediate impacts. CTV's Abigail Beeman looks to find some answers.
Morning. How are you?
At an Ottawa light rail yard the morning after the budget, the Prime Minister highlighted its $51 billion local infrastructure fund.
Canada's strength wasn't built in the halls of Parliament. It was built in our communities.
An attempt to make a high-level budget he calls generational relevant, as many economists say there aren't many takeaways for the average Canadian's daily life.
The government is moving in the right direction, but seem hesitant to go all in on this.
Economist Randall Bartlett points to previously announced tax cuts and a new promise to lower bank fees as impactful, but says it's tricky to find the narrative.
The amount of support that was provided to the economy is less than we were expecting. We looked at the depth of the cuts. It was less than we were expecting.
They're worried about how they're going to pay for their grocery bills. They're worried about how they're going to afford tuition. They're worried if they don't have a doctor. And this budget doesn't do anything for them.
Conservatives call it a costly budget.
Never before have Canadians had to spend so much to get so little.
The big bet that Mark Carney's making in this budget is on the patience of Canadians.
Scott Reid calls it a 30,000-foot budget with measures to reorient our economy and restructure business investment, taking as long as a decade to see tangible impacts.
They may be absolutely necessary, but they are not urgent. And Canadians tend to think, worry, and vote on the basis of urgency.
Reid says the government needs to focus now on showing Canadians how this budget could help them on an ongoing basis, not just on Budget Day. The government tells CTV News today's train depot announcement was just the beginning of a cross-country tour to promote the budget.
CTV's Abigail Beeman reporting in Ottawa. And the U.S. Supreme Court is weighing one of the most economically significant cases in decades with huge implications for Canada. At issue is whether President Donald Trump's sweeping emergency tariffs are legal. The case is being waged by a group of small businesses, but the stakes are high for our country as well. CTV's Joy Malvin has more.
The handmaidens were back protesting President Donald Trump's tariffs outside the Supreme Court. The justices have to decide if the president had the authority to use a 1977 emergency statute to impose sweeping tariffs on more than 90 nations, including Canada.
President Trump has negotiated agreements worth trillions of dollars with major trading partners.
It's a congressional power, not a presidential power to tax. And you want to say tariffs are not taxes, but that's exactly what they are.
Even conservative justices seemed skeptical. No other president has used the emergency law before to impose tariffs.
The exercise of the power is to impose tariffs, right? And the statute doesn't use the word tariffs.
But it uses the word regulate importation.
The tariffs have been challenged by businesses and a group of states after lower courts agreed the president overstepped his authority.
For nearly 40 years, my family has built this business from the ground up. Today, reckless tariffs threaten everything we've achieved.
Trump's tariffs have cost Canada billions of dollars in lost business, straining relations with the U.S. And with trade talks stalled over an Ontario anti-tariff ad.
Such trade barriers hurt every American worker.
This is like somebody's driving the train. We're kind of in the back cars, and we don't control its speed, and we don't control its destination.
With the president's tariffs hanging in the balance, the administration is preparing backup plans should the court rule against him. A swift decision is expected within weeks or months.
CTV's Joy Melvin reporting in Washington. A quick break here on Your Morning Atlantic. When we return, we'll be heading to the kitchen to check in on the spice program. That's coming up.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Welcome back. It's 8:21, and as you may know, the SPICE program is an initiative of the Center of Women in Business, and it has been doing incredible work across our region, helping women launch their culinary businesses. One of those success stories is La Casita Kitchen. Co-founder Vanessa Linares launched her business back in 2023, and she's been bringing Cuban and Venezuelan flavors to Nova Scotia ever since. To learn more, we welcome Vanessa and SPICE program lead Natalie Frederick Wilson to the show. Thanks to you both for coming in.
Good morning.
Now, I love that this is a real success story. Vanessa, when you started your business, you launched it out there and it was difficult. And then SPICE came along. Tell us about that.
Yes, I started it in 2022 on the farmers market. We tried several farmers market, and we were about to close the business when I met Natalie. I heard about SPICE, and it changed my life and the business. So.
Yeah, you're going to find out about all the places you can find the wonderful food from La Casita Kitchen. So it brings together Venezuelan and Cuban flavors. Explain that for our viewers.
Yes, so I'm original from Cuba. My business partner Alex is from Venezuela. So we bring holidays, pan de jamón is a traditional Venezuelan bread, as well as the tequeños. But for the empanadas, that's the one that we sell frozen in the stores. We do a mix of Cuban and Venezuela recipe.
Yep.
We have some 100% Cuban, like the ground beef, Cuban style ground beef with olive raisin. Empanadas is my grandma's recipe. It's 100% Cuban.
Wow.
But we have the pork and pineapple, which is a fusion, and we have mushroom and red pepper. We have chicken and caramelized onions. So we put a little bit of both.
This sounds great. Okay, we just saw beautiful, everything looks so gorgeous. We just saw an overhead shot. Let's kind of go through a few things one by one. This, you said, is a true Cuban delight.
Yes, it is. It's a Cuban street food.
Okay.
So it is called pan con lechon in Cuba. It's a soft bun with roasted pork with a special mojo.
What's moja? Sauce?
It's a sauce, okay. Yes, with onion, garlic, lime.
May I taste it?
Yes, sure,
okay,
go ahead.
Delicious. Okay, wow. And then while I'm talking, then you said that this is also Cuban, the empanada.
Yeah, we do a fusion.
A mix.
Yes.
Oh boy, that's yummy. Wow, that's yummy. Okay. I will finish that later. Delish. All right, empanadas are great. Okay, that's a mixture. These things I'm unfamiliar with. Explain this for our viewers.
So this is tequeño. We use halloumi cheese. It's a Venezuelan snack. And we mix it, we serve it with cilantro and avocado sauce.
Oh my gosh.
So you can dip it and try it. And it is
Have mercy. Maybe I need to go to Venezuela. This seems pretty great. Breaded halloumi.
Local
halloumi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We use halloumi. We use local products. We use local halloumi from Daily Sweet Moon. We use meat from Beck's farm.
Wow,
all the meat and everything. I love that about their business is local.
Yep, it's so good. So there's a lot of halloumi in that too. Like that's good value. Holy moly! Now you said this is just for Christmas time. People can get that now.
Yes, yes. People can order now, and we started selling. This week, sorry, it is called pan de jamón. It's a bread with ham, bacon. We use ham and bacon from Brothers.
Oh,
Brothers.
Beautiful Brothers,
market.
Yeah, locally.
We put the raisins and olive on it.
Interesting. Oh, I have to try that.
Yes, try it.
While I take a bite out of this, explain, Natalie, where you can find, well, first of all, you got something coming up at SPICE you wanted to say.
Oh, yes. So with SPICE, we started our 4th cohort, but this is what SPICE does. It elevates
business owners like Vanessa and helps her bring her flavors to the market. She started out just at the farmers market, and Spice program through the Center for Women in Business now has her selling at Pete's Boutique. She's looking forward to the next bigger retailers, but she also sells at Dalhousie. And our number one thing that we want to say is that you can give a beautiful food experience from the Spice women, and you can find that at our Spice Marketplace at the Center for Women in Business website.
Okay, this tastes like the holidays in my hand. Thank you so much, Vanessa. This hamon, pan de hamon, delicious. Okay, so these you can find at Pete's. We put the website for the Spice Marketplace on ours so that you can find it. Support people like Vanessa. It's not hard to do. This truly is delicious. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie, for
Thank you.
Wonderful people
I'm
like
keep
Vanessa.
bringing you the food.
Please do. So there's, look for those packages at Pete's Boutique. We're going to take a break. It's 8:26. We'll be back right after this. Actually, Latavia's got a 3-day. Oh, Latavia, I'm going to save some of this food for you. You're going to love it.
Please, Crystal, please. I'm hungry. Okay, we're going to take a look at our 3-day forecast. We are seeing mixed precipitation across New Brunswick today with a high of 7. 6 degrees on Friday, much of the same expected. And then on Saturday, we're looking at rain and or snow, warming up to 12 degrees though. And then for Nova Scotia, rain across the province today with a high of 8, really cooling down on Friday. 5 degrees with mainly sunny skies for much of the province. We are going to see isolated showers remain for Cape Breton Island. And then on Saturday, warming up to 12 degrees, but seeing wet weather throughout the day. Prince Edward Island also seeing rain today with a high of 7. 3 degrees on Friday with a mix of sun and cloud, evening rain. Isolated showers on Saturday, warming up to 12.
Still ahead, hockey helps the homeless. The event features teams of regular Joes and former pros playing together to raise money for charitable organizations. We'll speak with organizers and an NHL alum in 15 minutes here on Your Morning Atlantic.
Good morning, Atlantic Canada. I forgot it was me. I guess I haven't had enough coffee, but we're so thankful for you to join us this morning. Still a half hour of the show and jam-packed, lots going on.
Yeah. Wow, La Casita Kitchen, put that on your list of places you need to support soon because the food truly is great.
I have to try it. Look delicious.
Wow, so flavorful. That halloumi fingers, I'm going to have to get those for my family for the holidays.
And just to showing how the Spice program came in, and she was thinking, you know what, I'm going to close up shop, and they helped her along, and we're so happy to highlight local businesses.
Absolutely.
Now she's in all kinds of grocery stores. Started with Pete's Boutique, but more to come. She's on the rise. Yeah, that's some wonderful news.
And then still ahead on the show, we're going to talk about Hockey Helps the Homeless now in its 6th year.
Wow. Great initiative.
Great initiative happening tomorrow.
Next thing you know, we'll have frozen ponds out there where you can play hockey yourself, but not yet.
That'd be nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
Winter activities is
when the time is right.
Yeah.
We got to ease into it.
Yeah, that's just true.
I'm just not one of those people, unfortunately. Oh, look, Crystal.
Yay.
A treat for you this morning.
It is a treat for me, and the Hampton Roundabout is greening up again with the rain we've had. That's great news. They do such a lovely job landscaping this
They really do.
And the park surrounding it. Yes.
One of the best roundabouts I've ever seen. Well, as you can see from Hampton, it is a wet start to the day, so keep that in mind when you are heading out. Maybe allot some extra time out on your morning commute. And a cold start to the day. Keep that in mind right across Atlantic Canada. It's feeling quite chilly, and we're getting some strong wind gusts as well, so that's going to make it feel even colder. 2 degrees right now in Fredericton with 4 in Charlottetown, as well as into Sydney, 1 degree in Halifax, and 5 into St. John's, Newfoundland. Coastal flooding warning remains in effect with a coastal flooding statement for Newfoundland. We do have a coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Labrador as well. Over to our satellite radar. Mixed precipitation yet again for today. We are seeing this low pressure system track across much of Atlantic Canada. Will clear a little bit, but for the most part, we are going to see this round of wet weather continue into the weekend. For our wind for the maritime region, it's slowly beginning to pick up out of the north and northwest, 35 kilometers per hour in Canso, 33 starting off your day in North Cape, 28 in Halifax. Wind gusts currently getting up to 46 in Canso, 48 into Yarmouth, 30 in Lunenburg. We'll have one last look at your long-range forecast just ahead, but first, one last look at your local news with Amanda.
Thank you, Latavia. Reaction continues to pour in after a Nova Scotia MP crossed the floor, leaving the Conservatives to join the governing Liberals. There were high fives and hugs all around as Chris d'Entremont entered the Liberal caucus room in Ottawa yesterday. He was escorted in by the Prime Minister. On the other side of the aisle, members of the Conservative Party accused him of breaking his promises to constituents and of acting on personal grievances. D'Entremont says it is simpler than that.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the Leader of the Opposition had been talking about.
D'Entremont suggested there are other Conservatives feeling the same way, but declined to name them. A Conservative MP since 2019, D'Entremont won his seat in the last election with a narrow 1.1% margin of victory. That's just 533 votes. The mayor of a community on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula says there was nothing the town could do to save the local fish plant, which provided over 300 jobs.
It just tore right through the building. It was just like kaboom. And I said, it's gone.
The fish plant in St. Mary's burned to the ground Tuesday night during a powerful storm that pounded the coast of eastern Newfoundland. Firefighters struggled in high winds and coastal storm surge. No one was hurt, and investigators are trying to now figure out how this fire started. The plant reopened in 2022 after sitting empty for 7 years. Mayor Steve Ryan says the plant was supposed to be the start of his town's recovery plan. Premier Tony Wakeham says the company behind the fish plant says they are exploring rebuilding. In New Brunswick, it was standing room only at the Laurenville Community Center in St. John last night for an open house on a proposed AI data center that would be built in the recently expanded Spruce Lake Industrial Park.
Arabia, why don't just pretend you're not from here and take it somewhere else?
Over the course of 3 hours, area residents had the opportunity to ask questions and learn more about the proposed facility. If it passes an environmental assessment, the data hub would be built in partnership between Beacon AI Centers and VoltaGrid. VoltaGrid President and CEO Nathan O was born in St. John and says he is ready to work alongside the residents of Laurenville.
It's a real win for us to actually understand what is the sentiment in the community, to get an understanding of just the kind of the background of what's gone in Laurenville, so that we can incorporate that into the message going forward.
They're coming in with 50+ years of issues with this community that have had with all levels of government and issues. That's not VoltaGrid's fault. That's not Beacon IA's fault, but it's something they have to navigate and deal with.
This is the first project being proposed for the area since the city approved the controversial expansion of the industrial park in the summer. It was an important movie night at Pier 21 in Halifax last night.
After winning the gold, the outside world was like, okay, here it comes, like a women's professional soccer league. But we, as players, knew that it was still going to be a fight.
That is a preview from The Pitch, a new documentary exploring the creation of the Northern Super League, a big step forward for professional sport and women's soccer in this country. The Emmy-nominated filmmaker says it is an important story that had to be told.
The Pitch is a film following Diana Matheson, former Olympic medalist, who decides after retirement to try and bring a professional league here in Canada.
Halifax Tides player Sid Kennedy and team president Val Malone were among those at the red carpet event last night. Finally, to the outfield, baseball fans and collectors can get their hands on a number of items from this year's World Series. If you're interested, you'll need to dig pretty deep into your wallet for some of the most coveted items. Major League Baseball is auctioning off balls, base plates, locker tags, and jerseys, among other things, from the series between the Toronto Blue Jays and LA Dodgers. One of the most expensive items on auction is first base from Game 7, used between the 7th and 11th inning. Bidding on that item ends on November 9th, so in just a few days, and it's currently in excess of $48,000.
Well, that's crazy. Imagine catching one of those balls and then putting them up for auction.
Yeah. Wow.
Want to hear something cool?
Yes.
My husband's uncle caught one of the balls on Game 6.
Really?
Yeah, it was a foul ball right before one of the balls got stuck.
Wow.
It's
I
wild.
caught 2 of those.
Really?
When I was young.
When you were a kid?
Really?
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Well, one I caught actually, like it fell in front of me and I picked it up. That's how I caught it. And then the second one, I was screaming so loud for him that he was like, he gave it me. Yeah,
really?
yeah.
So
yeah.
sweet.
It's a beautiful story.
It's a great memory.
Well, we just had Spice in La Casita Kitchen.
Oh my God. Goodness. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, right?
Can't
The
even speak.
empanada
Yeah.
was delicious. We had that jamon, pan de jamon, which is the holiday food of Venezuela.
Ooh.
Well, maybe you'd like to have it with this holiday food. Coca-Cola is rolling out a special flavor for the holidays. Yeah, it's called Coca-Cola Creamy Vanilla. And it's the first limited edition holiday flavor for Coca-Cola in years. The Atlanta-based beverage company says the drink is infused with, quote, smooth, creamy vanilla flavors that capture the joy of the season.
Yum.
The limited time drink is available in full and zero sugar versions. Would you try this?
I would.
Oh, yes, for sure, I'll try it.
I like regular Coke, but, you know.
Maybe. I'm not too much of a pop drinker.
I'm not anymore. I've switched over to bubblies because of Amanda.
Yeah.
At first I didn't like those, and then I was like, now I love them.
I didn't know I
To my
influenced
mind, there's a time and place for a soda. There's a
Yeah.
time and place
Absolutely.
for a cola, particularly if you're having something like the pan de jamon, like it's really good with pizza, to my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza
I was
and
having
cola.
so much like caffeine or sugar and pop that I was like, I had to cut myself off. Too much sugar.
Understood.
Yum, yum, though.
Yes, exactly. Now we're going to talk about...
Easy for you to say.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Shall I?
No, I'm good now. It's just like I took a breath and all of a sudden I choked.
Someone get her a Coke to drink.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about the community calendar now. The Rap Garden, taking place in New Brunswick's Botanical Garden in Edmundston. You can come out and enjoy the beautiful holiday festive lights from November 7th to November 9th. Head to their website for additional details. And we also have another event taking place in Prince Edward Island, the Christmas Craft Fair over in Milton Community Hall. This will be running from November 8th to November 9th. Lots of goodies to explore. Head to their Facebook event page for additional details. And we also have the 5th anniversary celebration of Satva by Sarah. This is actually a store, a couple locations across Halifax. You can take a look at their newest holiday collection and celebrate their 5th anniversary. Head over to their website for additional details as well. And if you do have an event taking place in our neck of the woods, please send us the details, Your Morning Atlantic at ctv.ca.
Oh, some great events there. And coming up next, this is another event happening tomorrow. Hockey helps the homeless. NHL alumni and local players hit the ice together for a tournament with a lot of heart. Stay with us. Those details coming up next.
Also, a wet start to the day over in Summerside. Welcome back. The time now is 8:43. 4 degrees in your area. Showers remaining throughout the day and wind picking up out of the northwest, 40 gusting to 60. It is going to be a wet, cold, and windy day ahead for much of Atlantic Canada. Just be prepared before you step outside. Bundle up. It's going to remain quite cool across much of the region and cooling down even further into tomorrow's forecast. But we're focusing in on today's forecast, and right now heading outdoors, 3 degrees in Fredericton as well as into Moncton. 4 degrees starting off your day in Charlottetown and Sydney, with 1 in Halifax, as well as into Happy Valley Goose Bay, 3 degrees in St. Anthony and Gander, and 5 degrees over in St. John's, Newfoundland. We do have a coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Newfoundland. We're expecting large waves, pounding surf. Storm surge will produce high water levels. This is until Friday. Also have a coastal flooding statement in effect and seeing a coastal flooding warning in effect for parts of Labrador along the coast until Friday. Here's a look at our forecast timeline. We are seeing a bit of sunshine in our forecast for parts of Newfoundland. Other than that, though, we are seeing mixed precipitation for much of Atlantic Canada. Keep that in mind. You may want to allot some extra time out on your morning commute. As of right now, we have a bit of wet snow for parts of New Brunswick as well as into parts of Nova Scotia, and seeing mixed precipitation also expected for Labrador. Into the afternoon, we'll start to see the system slowly move over to Newfoundland. Also going to see mixed precipitation heading their way. And then into the evening and overnight hours, starting to see this precipitation clear out of the Maritime region. Still lingering, though, for parts of Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island, taking us into early Friday morning. If you're wondering about precipitation totals, we're looking at around 2 to 5 millimeters of additional precipitation for the southern region of New Brunswick, looking at around 5 to 10 for Charlottetown, and seeing the heaviest for the Maritimes into parts of Nova Scotia at around 10 to 20 millimeters. And then for Labrador, looking at around 5 to 20 millimeters, and seeing the heaviest of that additional precipitation into parts of Newfoundland at around 40 to 50 millimeters. Talking about the snow accumulation now, seeing around 1 to 15 centimeters of snowfall for parts of Nova Scotia, 1 to 15 also for parts of Labrador, only seeing 1 to 5 centimeters of snowfall for parts of Newfoundland. So a wet day ahead for New Brunswick. Keep that in mind when you are heading out. Wind will be picking up out of the northwest, 30 gusting to 50, and highs will range from 4 to 8 degrees today. Prince Edward Island looking at highs between 6 to 7 degrees. Rain expected throughout your day as well. Wind will become strong into the afternoon. Northwest, 40, gusting to 70. And then for Cape Breton, eastern Nova Scotia, same thing applies. Wet weather expected throughout your day today. Highs between 5 to 7 degrees. And then for the rest of Nova Scotia, wet weather for you as well. Looking at daytime highs between 7 to 8 degrees and wind gusts getting up to 70 kilometers per hour. And then for Labrador City, looking at a high of 0. Scattered flurries expected throughout your day. And also starting off the day with sunshine for parts of St. John's, but then seeing rain into the early evening. So a high of 9. And then Friday's forecast, lots of sunshine for parts of the region. Doesn't mean it's warm, though. It's going to remain quite cold, probably the coldest day of the week. And then into Friday evening, we have another system making its way over, bringing mixed precipitation yet again back around, Crystal.
Thanks, Latavia. It's 8:46. Now, Hockey Helps the Homeless is celebrating its 6th tournament in Halifax. This Friday at the RBC Centre, players from various skill levels, including pros, will compete in a one-day tournament that aims to raise $1 million for Adsom House and Vets Canada. Joining us this morning is retired NHL player Brad May and Don Murray with Hockey Helps the Homeless. Thank you both for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Great to have you back, Don. Great to have you in our region. Let's just start with you, Brad. I know you've been with Hockey Helps the Homeless since the beginning. Why is this initiative so close to your heart?
Well, for me, first of all, being a hockey player and having a platform to do some good with after you play. Making a difference is everything. Helping out your community. Of course, I'm not from Halifax, but you know what? I traveled in here many years ago. I met Don Murray, and I absolutely love coming back here. So I've been to every one of these events here in Halifax. And Don and his team and the volunteers, and of course, the need for helping homeless people and homeless vets is immense. And if we can do our little part together, we've raised $1 million to this point. Donnie, I think
we'll announce that tonight.
Hockey Helps the Homeless and your team have been fantastic.
Yeah. So, Don, you're the Halifax rep for Hockey Helps the Homeless. Why do you give your time and energy to this? Because I know this is not your full-time job.
No, for sure. I love the sport of hockey. And way back when in 2017, I met with Brad, and at the time, Canada Life was a founding sponsor for the event. And I'd already done a rec tournament for 17 years. So to transition into a charity event was natural and really enjoyable. And like Brad said, the need is there. And as we grow year over year, it just gets bigger and better, but the need gets bigger and bigger. So, yeah, I love it, and we've got a great committee here in Halifax.
The need certainly has continued to grow, and it's at an all-time high right now. Can you speak a little bit more about the organizations that this event will help this year?
For sure. We've got Adsom House for women and children, and we've got Vets Canada, which was started here in Dartmouth nationally. They were our first beneficiary, and then Adsom House joined a couple years later. So hopefully by the end of today, we'll grant $300,000 to the two beneficiaries, split amongst them, but cumulative $1 million since we started. And these are just 6 one-day tournaments. So our hope and goal is to kind of rival Vancouver, that raises $1 million in a single year. So coast to coast, we're going to try and compete.
Well, Brad, it's very rare that I get to actually have a chit-chat with an NHL player, and you were saying you do miss the good old days. But when you're playing I mean, Don, no shade, because I'm sure you're a great hockey player. But when you're playing with like ordinary people, and you've been in the NHL, like, how do you kind of control your level to not like hurt them?
Well, number one, age. You slow down as you get older, but the key there is finding good line mates like Donnie here. He's a hell of a hockey player.
What's he good at? Like, what's Donnie's strength?
Donnie loves, first of all, he loves taking the puck, not end to end, because you actually got good vision too, Don. But we found some chemistry early, and so I come out here, and we're going to play a game this afternoon before the tournament even starts, and get out there. So that would be my first and only pickup hockey game of the year. The rest of them are in events like this.
You just do events like this?
I do.
Wow, that's incredible that you can just like pop in and play. What do you love about Halifax?
Do you know what? I've been here. I have two things. Dirty Nelly's and the Lower Deck are two places I've actually been to. And I know there's a number of others, and I apologize for not mentioning them. Pizza Corner. I heard stories years and years ago about Pizza Corner and fist fights late at night. Tell you what, best poutine in Halifax is right there.
Yeah, oh, no.
I typically end up there because we're having a great time and a few libations along the way.
You're scoring points with all the people watching because they can relate to those exact places.
A lot of my kids' friends came out here to the university as well, and so I've just heard a lot about Atlantic, Canada. Of course, I've been here many times, but I enjoy Halifax and the people.
Well, a pleasure to have you in. Thank you for coming and supporting this event. And Don, for people watching, how can they support?
Hockey Helps the Homeless is hhth.com, and you can donate. If you want to volunteer, you want to be part of the event, just reach out. We're online.
Beautiful. We put that website on ours to make it easy for you to find. Meantime, it's 8:50. We'll take a little break and come back to wrap up the show right after this.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Welcome back. It is 8:54 and time now to share your text messages to the Move Morning Chat. We were talking about a smell that instantly takes you back in time or really brings up a very specific memory for you. You guys have some really beautiful answers. Get the tissues. Okay, we're going to begin with this one. This is funny. Jody from Moncton says, burning food reminds me of my mom. She says she was the best baker, but she burned everything else.
Oh my gosh, hilarious.
That is cute. At least she could bake. Terry from St. Andrew says the smell that takes me back to my childhood is fresh baked bread that my mother made almost daily. Sitting in front of the wood stove with the oven door open to get warm and eating the bread with fresh churned butter was amazing. Something I miss to this day, but I'm always taken back to when I smell fresh baked bread.
Oh, that's a beautiful memory. Thank you for telling that story.
Thank you. Tracy says, my kids are grown. This is funny. However, when I smell school supplies, I go back to the panic of getting them ready for school. But then the sweet relief after.
Oh my gosh, Tracy, I feel your pain. That list.
The list.
Why are there no red do-it-tags with a pocket?
Right?
Yes.
And we're going to keep with the school theme. Nicole says the smell of mulch on a fall day brings me back to my university years when I lived in Fredericton. It reminds me of being on campus and seeing all the plants and trees. The smell inspires education and always gives me a touch of optimism.
That's amazing, Nicole.
Well said.
I love that.
Too.
Well said. Marlene says, this is, oh gosh, this is sweet too. Garage smell. Love it because it reminds me of my dad. He passed away when I was 6 in 1977. He was a mechanic. Every time I enter into the garage, I feel like my dad is close. Yay, smelly grease.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, Marlene, what a beautiful memory.
That is a beautiful memory.
And, oh my, this is Lindsay. You said Smirnoff Ice. In my 20s, 2000s, I lived and worked in Ottawa. When my father, he passed away February 19th, so earlier this year, he would come to visit me. While I was at work, he filled my pantry with a few cases of it.
Aww.
And I bought a case yesterday and enjoyed it last night with a cheers to him and all our memories.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's so sweet.
Oh my gosh, you guys were so generous with your memories. Thank you for sharing them with us so we could share with other people. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that the Move Morning Chat. It's bringing us closer to our viewers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you to everyone who sent us a text and shared that with us. We really appreciate it.
We really love them. We check them all ourselves. Okay, we have time for a quick little last, very quick too. If you have an iPhone and it's set to make sounds and you text, you can imagine that noise. A little well, this guy has a spot-on impression of it.
Hello, this is my impression of the iPhone keyboard when you were typing a text to your friend.
That is funny.
That is exactly what it sounds like. Well done. Well done.
Wow, that was fantastic. It's also a little satisfying to hear that click, 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 click.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Well, this show is wrapping up, but we hope you join us tomorrow. We are talking about Christmas at the Forum. We're going to talk about having beach hair even in the cold fall and winter months.
Oh, yeah.
Shark fin research.
Yeah. And Katie Kelly returns with entertainment highlights.
Oh, my gosh. It's a Friday edition of the show. Tomorrow starts at 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Bye.
Bye.